Be excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League, and today we're playing my favorite deck, the deck that I played very triumphantly at Eternal Weekend to a top 128 finish, Esper Tempo. And we have added a very cool card here, Kaito Bane of Nightmares, as a new threat, in addition to our other threats, which are 4 Psychic Frogs, 4 Tamios, 3 Murktide, and 3 Orcish Bowmasters. We now have this card that can come down and potentially help you pull ahead by drawing cards, and can also attack and can also stun opposing creatures, which is not the same as removing them, but is quite strong. To complement our threat suite, we have some of the best interaction in the format in 2 Prismatic Endings, 4 Swords to Plowshares, 3 Thoughtseize, and then we have 4 Forces, 4 Days, 4 Wasteland. And we're playing a total land count of 20, so we should be resilient enough to be able to play 3 colors. And this deck has just overperformed for me, and it's an absolute joy to play. I think it's very well tuned for the meta. Sideboard, we have the 4th Orcish Bowmaster, which comes in against control mirrors and occasionally comes in against like the green Nadu deck that we're going to watch a replay of in just a second. Bowmasters is really strong against that deck. And we've also got 2 more Prismatic Endings. These are great against Karnforge. Sometimes you just want to board out your plows completely, and you can just side grade those into Prismatic Endings. We've got 4 Consigned to Memory because Karnforge, Eldrazi, these are problematic decks that we want to be able to address. And we've got 3 Hydroblasts because Moon Stompy and Painter are quite strong. And then here's the real kicker. 3 Grafdigger's Cage. I think Grafdigger's Cage is good against 3 of the top 3 decks in the format right now. It is good against Blue-Black Reanimator. It's good against Nadu decks that are either Green Sun Zenithing or Natural Ordering or Court of Calling. And it's good, interestingly, against Karnforge because it stops them from being able to play cards from their library, which is where they get the cards from the Mystic Forge. And I played against 3 different Karnforge decks in the during the main event at Eternal Weekend, and all 3 of the players that I talked to said Grafdigger's Cage was something that they were scared of and that it was worth boarding in against them. So, and then I have an additional Surgical Extraction just as a 4th piece of graveyard interaction. No main deck graveyard interaction here. We're not expecting to play Blue-Black Reanimator the entire time. We're actually expecting to play against a broader range of decks here. So let's go jump into some of the replays and we can see what happened with those. So first, I just completed a league this morning, and I wanted to show you the replays of that real quick, and then we're going to play a real-time league. So you're actually going to get 10 matches for the price of 0. That's right. This is a free video. I don't have a Patreon or anything. I just ask that you leave comments with timestamps. If you see me do something interesting, you're like, I'm not quite sure why Be Excellent just did that. Ask. If you see me miss lethal, if you see me make any obvious misplays, let me know. So I am going to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So the first match is against Galaxy Impact. So keep in mind, I don't necessarily know what these opponents are playing. I do generally look them up, and I encourage everybody to look up their opponents if you have the opportunity. I think in this case, I did know that Galaxy Impact was on Blue-Black Reanimator. Here's Kaito making an early appearance. So after wishing one another luck, we jump into it. I win the die roll. I'm able to stick a fetch. They Thoughtseize. I could definitely daze this, and it's probably worth it just to preserve information. I decided to let them just resolve, though. Maybe that was a mistake. They actually take the Bowmasters, which is interesting, but Bowmasters is quite good against me. So if they're going to reanimate Bowmasters, that could be a big deal. So I fetch the Undercity Sewers. I surveil away. I opt to draw the island, I think. Is that what I did? Yeah, because I wanted the land. This deck does use a lot of mana, especially if we're trying to cash in our... Oh, okay, do we keep that? Or what do we do here? We do shuffle those cards away because they're later game cards. Kaito is not good without a threat. To deploy Kaito, you don't want to be paying 4 mana for him. You almost always want to ninjitsu him in. Now I have Force Blue card if they attempt to do something degenerate, which they're loath to do, or they're apt to do. And this is a frog. We've got a plow to cover this, so no need to take any action here. We go ahead and plow, and then we can Tamio, and now we can defend Tamio with a Brainstorm as well. So unfortunately, I think I am able to defend her, but they are able to kill her. I can't remember exactly how this transpires. So I daze here because I don't have anything to do. They force back. I do think we're warranted to force here, but we could potentially Brainstorm and see what we find. Okay, so I just let them have it. Do I? Huh. No, I'm going to force it. So I'm going to basically Hellbent, but I do have a Tamio out. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to quickly flip Tamio, but Psychic Frog is quite good. It's a follow-up. And keep in mind, like, it doesn't matter how far I pull ahead. They have an I win button in their deck, and I do not. Let's see if they find that I win button. Here they are reanimating a frog from their own graveyard. And there is a game, at some point I think I forget that I can exile my own card, and they attempt to reanimate something from my graveyard. So there is a big punt in this match right here that we're looking at. I'm actually going to pop these out here so we can see the graveyards a little bit better. So I'm able to attack. They could jump. If they jump, I would have to crack the clue to draw a card, and I'm drawing blind. So it is totally like reasonable to jump the frog there, but they're opting not to. This is an experienced blue-black player. Okay, so actually they could have jumped, but I could have just cracked both of the clues to flip her. And I think we go ahead and we stick a Psychic Frog here. No, we're just going to flip her. That's fine. So we'll plus her, and now they can attack in, but they're going to have to discard to do damage. They do discard. What do they discard? Don't be an Archon or something nasty like that. It is... Okay, so it looks like they just... discarded the Wasteland, which makes sense at this point in the game. And here's a Brainstorm. There's a Reanimate. This is where I make a big mistake. I should have just exiled this to my graveyard. We're so far ahead that it probably doesn't matter because we can just Bowmaster this Bowmasters here. And yeah, we're like extremely far ahead. But it still does not excuse me making that mistake. Okay, and then here is where the Murktide comes out and basically shuts the door. Like, they're not getting around this Murktide. They have maybe, and I'm even pinging them and stuff, and they concede. So again, like, they didn't need to have any game at all if we just exiled that. So friends don't let friends. Forget about Frog's ability to exile your own graveyard. Let's dive into game 2 of round 1. So they come out with a pretty... you're always happy to see them sculpt instead of just Entomb Reanimate, especially when you don't have any interaction in your hand, which is the case. I had such a good hand, I couldn't throw it back. This Wasteland is tempting, but generally wasting them is not a winning strategy. I'd rather have Brainstorm up here. So they're going to animate Atraxa. There's nothing I can do here other than flip. Unfortunately, I don't find anything. I just look at what they reveal, but they're so far ahead that I scoop. And they revealed Fatal Push, Troll, Psychic Frog. I mean, they could just easily attack and kill my Tamio here. They could make a giant frog. They could hold back. They don't have Force of Will that we know of, so maybe it wouldn't be cautious to do that. Anyway, the classic turn to Tamio or Atraxa, just completely ending the game. So here, I don't think this is a great hand. I like the fact that we have Plow for Frog. I like the fact that we have double Tundra. We don't have a way to cast out this Frog, but we draw one, so we get lucky. They're cycling a Troll. Troll is fine. I daze here just because I can, and I kind of want to preserve the Plow for something later. I am getting pretty flooded here, like super flooded. And I don't want to float my Frog out there, but I get punished for not doing that. And now they have a Troll in their graveyard, and I drew yet another land. Wow. This is just like the worst draws. Okay. And they've got troll back. Another land. Okay. So you can see like it doesn't really matter how well you play. If you just draw like this many lands, you're going to lose. And so I take out one of the trolls. I'm still getting hit for 5 each turn, unblockable. Thoughtseize doesn't do anything. And I think, yeah, there's no path to victory here. I could stick around. I can't remember if they revealed like a force or anything, but like even if I remove that, like my hand is so terrible. So yeah, that is going to be hopefully the least, that's going to be the most devastating because these other ones go pretty quickly and they go pretty favorably. So we're up against Clan, who I believe is a Doomsday player. Yeah, I played against them a lot. So I mulligan a hand that isn't very, just doesn't really go anywhere. And this hand slaps. We've got Kaito, whom we can bring in off of Tamiyo. That'll be great. So we go ahead and deploy the Tamiyo. Kaito can't come down until turn 3. They Thoughtseize away our Brainstorm. Now we can't flip Tamiyo. Bowmasters is a great pickup though, especially like Doomsday really does not want to see Orcish Bowmasters. Their life total is very important. I go ahead and proactively deploy this because I don't want them to be able to cantrip. I don't want them to have days up. They Fatal Push, which is great. Now they Dark Ritual Doomsday. Okay, so I do my thing. You've probably seen me do it. The BCD FOP, and I take a look at their exile pile after they finish. And unfortunately, still not a way to sort it, but basically Brainstorm, so BCD, Brainstorm, Cyclers, Days, and then FOP, Force of Will, Oracle, and then Fatal Push, P. And sometimes people use Ponder. There's another P, confusingly. But anyway, I don't think I have much of a choice here. I don't think I have much of a chance. I really need a Wasteland. And I hope that they don't prepare for the contingency of Wasteland. I find double Wasteland, which is great. So now they have to concede because they didn't build their pile in a way that they can beat Wasteland. Okay, now we go to game 2. And I love playing against Doomsday. It's a fun matchup. I feel like it's a good deck, of course, but I feel like Tempo is very much favored against Doomsday. All right, and this is a perfectly serviceable hand. We've got lots of interaction in the form of Days, Plow, because they often do go more creature heavy. They'll often bring in Frogs or Tamiyos or even Murktides, Biogoyfs. So we're getting our Tamiyo out there, and so far they haven't interacted with it. We just let those cantrips fly, no big deal. And here we go. We're going to, I think it makes sense to just ponder here and find some further action. But I Brainstorm just to accelerate. A lot of times I won't. And I watched a match, Eternal Weekend yesterday. I watched like the stream, and there was a land still player who was playing probably 4 Tamiyo, and they just never flipped her. They intentionally held Brainstorm, and they're like, I'm going to get tons of value out of this. I'm just going to keep stacking up clues. When they finally fire a removal spell at it, that's when I'll flip her. And I just admired that. And I think that in a lot of situations, you don't really need to flip her aggressively. And maybe I was overly aggressive in flipping her here because I could have just drawn a bunch of cards. But she is flipped. They don't have a good way of dealing with her, I don't believe. There's a Baragoyf, so it's notable that they Dark Ritualed that out. But it's also notable that I play a white deck, and I found a Thoughtseize, which is great, so I can check to make sure that this Plow is going to resolve. And they force, and I'm like, sure. I'm just going to buy back my Thoughtseize, and they have nothing in hand, basically. This Unearth is just kind of like a fringe win con. Like there are certain piles they'll build with Doomsday where they can get this. It's not bad, but it's not good at all against a Plow deck. So we're just going to Plow, and we can just take our time and start taking Tamiyo up again, and they scoop. So again, very clean win against Doomsday. Next, I play against my good friend Matthew, who is in my play group here at Dallas. We just randomly got queued into one another here on Thanksgiving Day 2024. And he says, what are the odds? Well, if you play enough Legacy, you get paired into everybody sooner or later, right? So I kind of know what he's on because I don't know what he's on for sure, but he likes to play kind of rogue brews that are like marginally playable. There was a guy, I can't remember his name, Vito something. But he was playing on stream on Eternal Weekend, and he was playing this bug build. And I think Matthew's deck is inspired by that bug deck. But he tries to dismember. I daze. I don't really need a daze there. That might have been loose, but I figure if this is going to be control on control, we want to keep Tamio around. There's a Shielder's Edict, so Tamio is not long for this world either way, but we made him use 2 removal spells. There's the Frog. I am very happy to just take time and plow the Frog and also avoid getting my Frog dazed. Here's the Tamio from their side. We have Frog, and I don't think that we burn the plow. I do this in response here. And the reason I do it in response, I'm trying to think of why. I just want to make sure that they can't flipper. Actually, I can't think of a good reason why I plowed in response to it. I think I just wanted to see whether it resolved and maybe like make them think that I had a force, but I don't. So my Frog is definitely down here. Now Spell Bomb is good. However, they're proactive with the Now Spell Bomb. They respect the Murktide. They know my list. So it was smart there, and I think I actually draw a Murktide here. Yeah. So very, very apt play from Matthew there. And I'm able to put some cards back. We've got the Kaito and Bowmasters thing lined up. I'm going to go ahead and play on my land. So I can Bowmasters here in the end step, which is perfect to punish the Strix. So the Strix, they get to draw, but like we kill the Strix and we've got a bigger Orc army now. And now we can just, so this is the spice. This is what I was talking about. Hogak, pretty good card. You don't want to put that in their graveyard. Metamorphosis Fanatic, just leave that in their hand. Let's take the Force. So we take the Force and we're able to attack in. We do have the mana to Kaito here, and I do think we should. But unfortunately, this is the first time I've ever used the ninjitsu mechanic on MTGO, and I screwed up somehow. I'm still not actually sure how you use it. I need to learn. I'm probably going to learn in real time on the stream. But I did, I think, 1 point hardcast Kaito. So he does play a role in this league that we're watching the replays of. Oh, yeah, there. I just hardcast him there. I'm able to waste. He's clearly struggling on mana. Now I've got nothing going on, but I do have a Force in hand. Kaito is really strong because it's hexproof during your turn, so normal creature removal can't do anything. And I've got hardcast Force up. Let's go ahead and add the Brainstorm to my grip. And now we're coming for him hard. Look at that. Boom. Matthew scoops. Go to game 2. So again, like, my deck is just like a lean and clean murder machine. I have no qualms about just like putting people in the ground. What Matthew's trying to do, and what he always tries to do to his credit, is build interesting brews where he's doing things that are not just like, tempo plays or pure control plays. So he does play a lot of cards that I wouldn't consider playing. And I think that's really cool. Different styles represented. But frankly, like, this is not a surprising outcome given that like every single card in my deck is like 1 or 2 mana basically. And I'm not trying to do anything cute. Okay, so there he's able to use his mana, but I have wasted him off of blue. Let's see whether the Tamio sticks. He attacks, I block, and he's like, ha ha ha. I think he like laughs. Yeah, ha ha ha. Why are you blocking? But I'm like, dude, remember Kaito's in this format. Kaito, you can absolutely put Kaito in off of an unblocked Tamio. So this is a public service announcement. If you block people's Tamios, if you're able to, because you don't want them putting Kaito in. Kaito is an ordeal. Okay, so here we are. We're attacking in. And I think Matthew, once I mentioned Kaito, he starts blocking my Tamio as well. So here we plow. They definitely could have interacted there. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. I just didn't want them to keep stacking clues. Because you do want to generally be proactive about removing Tamio. She will generate a ton of card advantage over a longer period of time. So I'm not going to do anything about this Tamio here. I'm just going to attack in. There's a very real chance that they have days here. They're blocking, as I mentioned earlier. Now I think playing Frog is fine. We have days. We have Force. The other thing we could do is we could just play out the Bowmaster, but I don't know if that's correct. Yeah, Frog is the highest expected value here. They get an island. They are going to... What are they doing here? They're Bowmasters. Okay. And this is great because you never want to be the first Bowmasters. Let he who is without sin cast the first Bowmasters. So like, let's daze this. I don't even have to Bowmaster. Like, let's just daze it, is my thinking. Daze is not necessarily going to get better than this. And if they have a follow-up Bowmasters, I can just pitch this Ponder. But I'm going to Ponder, and I'm going to definitely hope to hit a blue here. And we get there. We get a great Ponder. We get the land we want. So we're just going to take the Ponder now, and we'll play the land later. Yeah, we're going to take the Ponder now, so we have a blue card for force, and we'll just play the land next turn. We've got a lot of action in these clues, and we're still stacking clues. So if they flip here, it's not a big deal. Thoughtseize, yeah, like, not going to force that. You'll note that they are taking a lot of damage. They're doing damage to themselves, and we do have pressure on board in the form of Psychic Frog. They don't attack in. I think this was a mistake. There's no way that I pitched these to potentially kill a Tamio, knowing that they could just brainstorm or something. If they attacked, I would probably just assume that they had a way, and I wouldn't pitch these cards. So, especially with that, like the sheer volume of removal, like, make no mistake, their deck is a control deck. It's not a tempo deck like mine. So they have a much higher density of removal. All right, so I'm coming in for another little hug. They really can't block Psychic Frog here. Like, they should be scared to do so, considering that I have clues that I can crack to draw cards. So they just block the Tamio. We get a draw trigger, and this is kind of like the snowball effect. This is the inflection point where the game starts going much more toward me. I could Ponder here. I think it's fine. If I Ponder, I can flip the Tamio. I think that's correct. I just opt to crack a clue instead. I rip a Thoughtseize, which is just insane. Thoughtseize is so strong in control mirrors. And now we can Thoughtseize them, which we should do. And then they've only got 2 cards in hand, so we're going to be able to take some action probably. Grist is great. Grist is a really powerful card. It can easily kill our Tamio. So I'm very happy to take Grist, and I'll leave them with the Uro, and they can cast it the old-fashioned way. Yeah, coming in. Here comes Uro to draw, gain some life, potentially put a land into play. And now, what are they doing? Thoughtseizing here. Fatal Pushing my Frog. So I think, given they only have 1 card in hand, it is 100% correct to force here. And I force. They do not have counterplay. They have no mana open. And we're just going to keep pressing our advantage. I go ahead and plus Tamio here. You could definitely argue without them having any pressure. I might want to just cash in and get like a force back. I don't know what's coming. I opt instead to just plus. I mean, you should almost always attack before you plus. So that was definitely premature. I think I saw a Prismatic Ending on the top, which is great because it hits either form of Tamio. They do go after Tamio instead of my frogs, which just shows you how much respect they have. This is the absolute critical play. Had I not had this daze to stop the carpet, I would have had 4 lands out because I did daze this back to hand. And they have an Uro in their graveyard. They wouldn't have been able to bring out Uro this turn, but they would have been able to crack both of those clues. So this is a crucial play. It may not seem like, the old turn, what is it, turn 6 or turn 7? Turn 7. Carpet is strong, but it absolutely is strong here. This is like very backbreaking, and I don't think Matthew can recover from this. So he comes in. And there's the Prismatic Ending that I thought was on top. And I think, I just end. And this is that's the game. This Baragoyf, not of consequence. I will be able to find an answer for it. I can just fly both my frogs, flip Tamio, and regrow a plow. And I think that's what I do here. They both fly. And at this point, I think I tell my opponent, I don't even bother removing it because I can just play this and block with a token. And at this point, this is where I tell my opponent that I think that Baragoyf is not as good as Murktide. And if you see here, Baragoyf, every single turn, I can basically just, if they crack a clue, if they do anything, I've got a new Orc Army token to chump with. And here's my own Murktide, which just closes the game very quickly. So I Prismatic End, and we do this dance, and they've got 1 card in hand. I'm going to draw a couple cards. Yeah, it's just kind of disgusting, how powerful this deck is against somebody trying to brew. This deck just gives them no quarter. So they say GG's, and we're on to round 4. Up against Moose. I can't remember what they're on. I'm not sure how much of a MTG record they had. Okay, so this is a deck that's normally very bad if you're a blue player, but we have such a strong deck. We have such a strong hand. Look at this double force hand against Moon Stompy. It's where you want to be. Blood Moon, no thank you. That would have been really strong against us. We just surveil. I actually surveil a Ponder into the yard just because I want forward momentum. Here's that annoying card everybody's complaining about these days. I don't think it's that bad, but I am playing Prismatic Ending to address it. Okay, and this is a huge mistake. Huge mistake. Public service announcement number 2. Never, ever crack your baubles when there's nothing going on. Just keep your bauble around. What the heck? So not only do I get a Bowmaster trigger here, but now I have Force Live. They play another bauble. So I think the reason they cracked there was because they had another one live. But still, like, I don't know. I had 0 pressure. It's true that the game gets better for me as the game goes on. So to be charitable to my opponent, maybe they just wanted to keep some sort of semblance of momentum. This was a huge mistake. You never want to crack another bubble when there's a Bowmaster on the table. So now I've got like 4 pressure, and I have Force Up, and Fury is like a very forcible thing. The One Ring, sure, go ahead. One Ring, you have barely any life, and every time you tap it, I'm going to ping you. And now I can double ping them, which is just absolutely brutal. But it's actually like more efficient for me to just go ahead and deploy the Murktide than it is to double ping them when they, So I'm just like, okay. Like Moon Stompy historically has had a very hard time dealing with Murktide, and they scoop. All right, let's go to game 2. I think game 2 is just a non-game. A lot of times you just get mooned, and that's that. I did keep a Force of Will hand, but it doesn't have anything else going on. But I think it's worth it because Moon is that strong. Bombardiers, let it through. We just waste them. We don't have anything else going on. Generally, like, it sucks to waste your opponent when they're hitting you for 2. Yeah, and they have the city too. But I do think it's correct to do that. One Ring, get that out of here. We can't handle it this time around. We draw a basic, which is great. Now, what I usually do is I'll wait before they go to combat. I don't want to risk them doing anything. Magus, that really sucks. That really hurts. So this is a situation where had I just been patient and let them hit me anyway, then I could have plowed the Magus and I'd be out from under it. And I think that cost me the game. I do. Even if I get lucky and draw some cards, like I'm going to be pretty far behind. And I am getting very lucky. I drew a plow. I don't deserve that, frankly. So they have a second Magus. Again, if I had let that connect, maybe they wouldn't have cast it, but they would have cast something else and I would have had a window. But it's not like I had a lot to do in my hand. So the best draw is an island, of course. Underground Sea doesn't do anything. And I think we just chill here for a while until they gradually we bleed out trying to find our island. I find in these situations, it is generally good to go ahead and play out your resources. They had us dead there. They could have just thrown the Magus at us. Maybe they're just playing conservative. But yeah, they won anyway. So yeah, that was, I think had I just let the Bombardier stay in play, I would have taken a lot more damage, but I would have been able to plow Magus 1 and Magus 2. But either way, I wasn't finding a blue source for a while, so I probably would have died to the Bombardier. That's just how the game went. Okay, game 3. Our opponent is, we're definitely not keeping this. Like, in my mind, you have to keep something that can interact on turn 0. I kept this? I can't believe I kept this. I don't think this is a keep. Well, actually, wait, rewind. I have path to both of my basics, so I think that's why I decided to keep it. Because I can, I do think it's good to ponder here, to just island ponder. Yeah, and that's what I do. So, Frog on top. So next turn we can actually play the Underground Sea. It doesn't matter when we play the planes. The fact that we can play the planes is all we need. So here, I could ambush. I could also just... So the problem, this is what you love to see. Your opponent, for some reason, thinks you're on... I don't know how they could think I was on a graveyard strategy. Have I used my graveyard at all? I don't believe so. And I think actually, like, I might actually resolve Murktide because they just don't time this right. So they attack. This is a great surveil land opportunity. But instead, I just go ahead and plow. I think that was probably better as a Surveillant to potentially open up the opportunity to Merc before they can exile my graveyard, but I just get lucky and they don't exile my graveyard for some reason. Like, I think that was a misplay on their part. Like, I think you absolutely want to just aggressively go after the graveyard. This is a terrible card. I don't think people should play Gemstone Caverns. But my opponent's playing it, and I am very grateful that they're playing it so I'm coming in for 5. We still have the Bowmasters. We're not even going to bother playing out the Psychic Frog. I probably should have played out the Psychic Frog just in case they moon me. Then I could totally ignore moon for the rest of the game. But I'm not sure what I was scared of here. Dead Gone. I mean, I could just tempo them. If they try to Gone, then I have to redeploy. I wouldn't necessarily have the resources to redeploy. I don't know. Anyway, that felt like a pretty easy, like game 3. So now we're at the last one, my last fitting title for an opponent. And we're at this point 3-1. We just lost that game to Blue-Black Tempo where we totally flooded out. And here we are. This seems like a pretty solid hand. So, oh yeah, I remember this game. This game is just absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. Like, I inflict so much savagery upon my opponent. So here, Dryad Arbor. Okay, sure. Dryad Arbor, huh? You want to put some more 1 toughness creatures in play? You do. Okay, well, I've got a follow-up here. Let's Bowmasters. And I saw that I had a Wasteland on top, so I'm just going after the mana, like hardcore. I think we just attack in. We could plow. I think it's responsible to plow here. Let's see what we find. Another plow is great. I think what I would do is I just put the Underground Sea at the bottom, and then I probably play out the Delta if I didn't play. No, I played a Wasteland this turn. So I will want to not draw that Underground Sea, but I will draw the Delta and the plow. Plow is very good, just like minimizing the resources. And we plow. Just bolt the bird every time. Allosaurus Shepherd is really good against us, but not when we have plow. They have a Gaia's Cradle that taps for 0, and we're just coming in and just completely clowning them here. Yeah, and they scoop. Like, that was one of the most one-sided games I've played in a while. All right. Game 2. So I think this is... I can't remember how I lose this one. Okay. So, mulling to 4. That's how you lose that one. I really didn't have good hands, though. So they're going to come with the Hierarch. This is not bad. Like, Frog can do a lot here. Springheart. Sylvan Safekeeper. Okay, this card is just busted against us. Like, we really can't beat this card because we are a very removal heavy deck. If you count the Bowmasters, Prismatic Ending, we've got like 9 removal spells in our deck, basically. Here's a Prismatic Ending that does nothing. I think I bin that. I think our only chance is to ride Psychic Frog to victory here and hope that we can connect enough times. But yeah, here's Nadu, and we don't really need to see what happens from here. They're going to be able to sacrifice stuff. So yeah, I think mulling to 4 and then them having a natural. But I do have my 4 or my 3. And this is precisely the matchup. One of the reasons that you want to play 3 Grafdigger's Cage. I've got all 3 of them in. There's one right there. Boom. This is a keep. This is a snap keep. So I think the way we open is probably like, if I were to sequence this now, knowing what I know, I would probably open Tundra into Grafdigger's Cage. We don't need to fear Wasteland. Then they don't know that there's a Wasteland, and so we can potentially snipe their second land, deploy the Tamio, or hit their bird, whatever they play out. And then we can probably flip Tamio. Flip Tamio is very good against their deck because most of their creatures have 1 power. And so Tamio is going to stick around for a while. Yep, Grafdigger's Cage. Don't mess around. They might have the turn 1 Green Sun Zenith. You just want to strand stuff in their hands. Okay, so here we go. Tamio's out. All right, they're plowing Tamio, which is fine. Okay, and now we just need to find a black source, which we find. So I'm going to put back a land and probably a force. I don't think force is that important. We're just going to go after everything they put on the table. I opt instead to put back... What was it that I put back? I didn't see exactly what I put back, but I think I put back like a Prismatic Ending or something. Okay, so we are going to keep the force will around. I think in retrospect, though, you want to put the force, like one of the forces back probably, and maybe late you can draw into something, but what are we scared of? Like, we're completely locking down the board. I guess we are kind of scared of Nadu because that's a draw trigger. And here is Nadu and we're able to force it. So yeah, maybe my past self was smarter than my current self. Okay, so here's the frog and we're just going to start attacking. Grafdigger's Cage is such a security blanket. They have a Cradle that produces 1 mana. We're going to ping. Cradle produces 0 mana. We're just going to come in for the Death Hug, doing so much damage to them. There's another Nomad Encore that's going to chump. Yeah, like we reveal another Bowmaster. So this is what I was saying when, like, this is just the most savage match. We are so favored in this matchup. It's not even funny. Like, pretty much everything our deck does is just antithetical to what our opponent wants to do. And having these 3 Grafdigger's Cage just lock out. So they have 3 Natural Orders, 4 Court of Calling, 4 Green Sun Zenith. So a single 1 mana artifact that you play out and just shut off 11 cards in your opponent's deck. And shut off their ability to fetch for Dryad Arbor and stuff. I mean, it's like, this is a really good card in the matchup. So yeah, that was the first league that I did this morning. And let's go into a live one. Round 1 against Tiny One Hippo. Likely a blue-black tempo player. I don't think this hand is good against blue-black tempo, other than the fact that it has a lot of lands. I think I'm going to mulligan this. We are in the blind, but if you look, like, they were just playing tempo a couple days ago. It's their only legacy history. I'm going to assume they're probably on it. They're like, they might be new to legacy, or they may just not play a lot of online legacy. I'm going to mull. It feels weird to mull a hand that has force. This is also a mull, unfortunately. Okay, this is a keep. And what we're going to do is we're going to hope to... So I'm going to put back... I think I'll put back Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize is not particularly good against them. And then we're going to hope to get on board with Tamiyo. We'll see if we draw a land here. Okay. That is a land that Blue-Black Tempo plays. That is a land... Underground Sea is a land that Blue-Black Tempo also plays. Okay, so they're going to see that we only have 1 land, and if they have Wasteland, that's going to set off their Spidey sense. They did hit our Ponder. Okay. All right, well, I'm not going to wait around. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to jam. We've got nothing to do. They knew that this was coming. Hopefully they daze this. They force it. Whoa, Scoob. I don't think that that's correct. But I don't know what's in their hand. If they have a Wasteland, none of this will matter because they're just going to waste this out of the game, unfortunately. I don't think keeping that hand that we kept was correct, but it would have played out a lot better than this because we would have had a lot of land. All right, they are probably digging for the Wasteland. They have probably like a 70% chance of finding a Wasteland in their top. Gosh, how many cards are they looking at? 12? Yep, there it is. All right. So the good news is they don't have any pressure on the table. I can go get an island, which I will get an island if I get a chance to. So I think it's a trap to waste here. I'd much rather keep this around because this is Days Insurance. If they don't play a land for some reason, if it's clear they're stuck on land, then I will waste. Okay, wow. Are they passing? Okay. Well, I'm glad I didn't wasteland them. Land, please. Hoo-hoo-hoo. Yes. So now we have Days Insurance here. And we're going to have mana to crack the clues that Tamiyo leaves in her wake. Our opponent's tanking on this, which makes me think they have force. I would love nothing more than for them to force this because I want to pave the way for Psychic Frog. They might brainstorm in response or something like that. Brainstorm in response. You'd love to see them brainstorm before they fetch. Okay. It doesn't look like they're going to have a way to break that brainstorm either, so I just feel incredibly lucky that they chose that line. They'll probably remove her, but if they don't, she's going to start creating clues and just clawing us back into the game. Go for the throat. Can't do anything about that. Other than critique this choice of art. I think the original Go for the Throat art is like way cooler than that. With the lady that's like grabbing, the vampire lady that's grabbing the throat. It's really cool looking. Okay. So we're back in a holding pattern waiting for a land. That is a land. I'm going to just jam this. So we are going to go get the Underground Sea here. Black, blue, frog. All right. Let's see how much removal they have. They've used just one removal spell so far. They are going to have giant Nethergoyfs if they ever resolve a Nethergoyf. Murktide. This looks like a Murktide. And that means that I've got like basically 2 turns, maybe 3 turns to find a white source. But Plow is very good against Murktide. Remember, we're not trying to drive their life down. Even though we are a tempo deck, like this is very much like just control the situation. If we can find a Plow, we'll feel favored. Or yeah, this has a decent shot at finding a white source. Oh no, they've got it. They've got the Bowmasters. That is really unfortunate. We are going to get the trigger so we can discard something first if we need to. But I definitely get the vibe that Bowmasters is coming in here. Yep. So Bowmasters, what are they pinging? They're probably pinging Frog, I would presume. Yep. Frog is pinged. Okay, so now we get the draw trigger. Oh no. Yeah, these are all really bad. Yeah, we can't brainstorm here. I'm going to any order shuffle. Okay, and now they're going to hit it again, and I'm just going to discard this to keep it alive. Okay. So Frog lives to frog another day, but we do have a lot of pressure on the table. I think it's probably correct to go ahead and block. If they attack with the Orc Army, I'm definitely blocking it. If they attack with the Bowmaster itself, I'll 100% block that. I don't think they'll make that mistake. Okay. So sadly, I'm probably going to need to fly and attack in, even though it's going to trigger the Bowmaster, because I really do need to get rid of this Murktide. Or I could just draw the white source I wanted. GG easy. I'm going to go ahead and hit the Murktide right now while they're unable to force. So that's gone. Yeah, if they block with that, then they can... so I do need to fly here. I am going to fly, though. I've got life. So let's exile 1, 2, 3. Murktide's taken to the skies. If we can find a Frog is taken to the skies. If we can find a Murktide of our own, that'll be so good. Thoughtseize is not a good draw. Yeah, I don't think we cast this. I think it's just too much damage. I'll just hold it as a card I can pitch, or, if I ever get rid of this Bowmaster, I can brainstorm it back. If you think that I was a mistake to attack him with Frog there, to advance, let me know in the comments. Because technically, I guess my Frog could have just chilled and held them back, but I want to press my advantage. I may just chill this turn, though. I may not attack in. We'll see what I draw. Okay. Options. We could just chill. They don't have good attacks if we chill. If we attack in, we're basically dead on the crackback. We'll take 1 and then we'll take 5. Effectively dying. Yeah, I think I'm just going to chill. I think it'd be a mistake to Thoughtseize here because they probably just have instant speed interaction. Yep. We're probably going to die either way. I'm not hopeful about this game. I mean, we did mold a 4. Or we mold a 5 on the draw. What, were we on the draw? Yeah, we were on the draw. Brainstorm. Probably seeing a Fatal Push. I don't know that they even cast a single Fatal Push this game. And I imagine they have 4. Nethergoyf would be strong here. Okay, they're fetching. Brainstorming again. Okay. So it's a miracle that they haven't found a way to remove Frog yet, but they will. This game can still go our way if we find a Murktide. Murktide will be pretty large. It'll be 1, 2, 3. It'll be an 8/8. We can discard the Thoughtseize to it. Well, we can always do that once we have the Murktide on the table. Another cantrip. My goodness. They're just desperately looking for the... getting another Wasteland is not a bad call either because they can waste off one of our key colors. If I find a Plow, I'm 100% plowing that Bowmasters, though, and then I'm going to start attacking again. But I think that's not going to be an option. What are the odds they don't find a removal spell here? Bobble. Okay, cracking the bobble, seeing what we're going to draw. wish I knew. They attack in 100% ditching the Wasteland here. Nethergoyf, big card. Yeah, very big. They'd be crazy to attack here. Okay, yeah, they have Restraint. All right, let's untap, upkeep. They get another card. Murktide, please. Oh, yes! How sweet it is. Okay, so options. One, we could just Murktide. I think we just Murktide and we chill. They've already used their Go for the Throat. They probably have a Brazen Borrower in their deck. I'm going to hold the Wasteland. There's no reason to play that out. They can't have double days. Probably just go like this. I'm trying to think. There's not a reason to get rid of their cards. So we'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to make it a small one, but I have the ability to make it much larger. And I think we just pass. We see if they attack in. So Murktide was probably the one card we could have drawn here that could make a difference. Fatal Push. This is unfortunate. I'm going to discard this. Now I'm going to exile 3 cards. We're just going to pump up our wall. We have a giant wall. That Thoughtseize was not going to get cast, realistically. I just don't think that the value is there when we would be taking 2 damage and putting ourselves even closer to death. Borrower ends this game. Nethergoyf can attack and then they could attack everything and then I could block and they could bring back the Nethergoyf. I think that's probably actually the line. They've got 4 card types, so they could bring it back. I think we just have to chill. If we draw a second Murktide, that could be good later. I'm just going to play this out, so now we've got Hardcast Force up and we're going to chill longer. I would love to there's a good chance that they have a daze in hand. But we will attempt a daze a Borrower. Okay, they are seeing the line and they're attacking with everything here. I think the correct action is just to block the Orc army. Let's see. They've got 2 artifacts. They've got plenty of sorcery. Well, they've got 2 sorceries. They've got plenty of lands. Yeah, this Nethergoyf is going to come back being just as strong. I'm going to just block the Orc army here and not die. So I'm dropping a lot in life. Okay. So we're just going to chill for another turn. That's a terrible pickup. I think we just have to chill. This time we will have to block the Nethergoyf and then they can just bring it back. We can actually force when they bring it back. And then they can bring it back again. Not a good situation. We have plenty of time on the clock though, so I'm not freaking out. I'm just going to play to this game's natural conclusion. Okay, they are going to chip in here. If they have a Bowmasters, that's bad too. Okay, here's the Nethergoyf coming back. I feel like we do need to go ahead and deal with this. So it'll come back as a 4/5. Next time it'll come back a lot smaller. We can't pitch cast this. We just have to do it like this and hope they don't have a daze. I won't be surprised if they have a daze. Yep, let's concede. Actually, it's not necessarily over. It's just almost certainly over. Okay, so it's coming back in. We could draw like our own Bowmasters would be really good. Plow does answer this. I think now is a good time to do it. I'm not happy about it. If they have Force, that's just game. They're floating black for some reason. Yep, and we just have to keep our wall back. This little Bowmaster is threatening death. Land, we're glad to see that. They can't attack. Or if we can just keep ripping decent cards, we might be able to pull back. That's a decent card. I'm going to do this and then I'm going to attack in. This is the Force. I could have definitely just wasted them a couple times. Yep. Yeah, if I had just wasted before I did that. I didn't think about the fact that they could have Hardcast Force up. It doesn't make sense to waste now. I think I'll just wait until I have something good to do and then I'll waste. I don't think there's anything that we're giving them access to. I wouldn't be surprised if the last card in hand is a Daze. Another land. Nothing we can do about that. Not a big deal because like exile-based removal just kind of buys us time. This isn't a long-term solution, unfortunately. I do unfortunately think we need to keep both of these up. I'm not happy about it. I definitely could have double wasted there, but now I'm thinking like, okay, let's just like this Daze is definitely not going to do anything in this game. It's going to be brainstorm back once we eventually figure out a way to deal with. Yeah, there we go. It'll leave our hand. Okay, is this removal? This is removal. Nothing we can do. We're just going to cling to life. If we can find another Murktide, that'll be great. Our opponent is Hellbent. We can't do anything here. Yeah, we're just going to chill. And this is where tenacity pays off. Like sometimes, like we're probably like 10% to win this game, but sometimes we do get lucky. Like a Bowmaster's at the top. There's so many things. A Brazen Borrower. So many things that can end this game for us. That's not what we're looking for. I'm trying to think if there was some attack where I, just didn't block and I was like, oh, it'll be all right. I've got life. Because think of how quickly I could have ended the game in this board state. Yeah, that's fine. Do they have the way to flipper? And unfortunately, if they attack, like it's a force block on Orcish Bowmaster, so they are going to be able to attack with her. Oh my goodness. Yep. We're just going to, hopefully we're pulling ahead on time or like recouping time. I'll happily block her if they attack, but I will have to block Bowmasters if they attack with Bowmasters. We probably, yeah, I'm going to block this. And then they're going to brainstorm. Do they have brainstorm? Okay, they have Borrower. Clue token. Okay, that's one draw. Okay, she's dead. All right. I'm happy about that. Nethergoyf's back. This represents death for us if we can't find a white source. It can't be a fetch. It has to be like a natural white source. That's death. Yep, good game. All right. So that felt like a pretty good game considering we mulled twice and we're on the draw. But we were very favored in this matchup. So let's show how favored we are here. This is a very good matchup to bring in Bowmasters because they're playing their own Bowmasters. And Bowmasters is just a good card in general against them. I think Planes can come in. And then cards that are coming out. I could reference my sideboard guide, but like I'll tell you, Thoughtseize is terrible against them. Like basically, they're like almost every card in their deck is functionally similar. So we can just take out a force. Actually, do we want to take out a force? I think I want to take out a Tundra just because like I don't want to get flooded. Force and Daze are not atrocious. They're not good by any means. Yeah, like these, like there are just a lot of bad cards in this matchup. Like a lot of cards in our deck that are not good, but Thoughtseize is easily the worst. So, what do we want this game to look like? We want to be able to fetch our basic planes. That's a pretty key thing. And then we have 8 exile-based removal. Virtually everything in their deck dies to Prismatic Ending. Only thing that dodges it is Murktide. This is not a spectacular hand, but it's not a bad hand. I'm going to keep it. I generally don't throw back hands. I like mulligan as little as absolutely necessary in this matchup. I'm probably going to get a Surveillant here. And I'm just going to try to play as slowly and as conservatively as possible. Nethergoyf is not a big deal. Tamio is not a big deal. I'm going to Surveil and then I'm going to probably plow Tamio before they can get any value offer. We're looking for land. That's what we're looking for. Perfect. It does suck that we're kind of like, oh no! Oh, I freaking played the wrong card. That was so dumb. Yeah, I meant to play the Tundra. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. That was just brain fart. Okay. So they are going to get a crack in, but I don't think Bowmaster, I don't think we do anything. We don't want cascading errors. That was absolutely an error. That was a punt. But we don't want even more of that. If they brainstorm for some reason, I do think I will attempt to Bowmasters. But Bowmasters is... Actually, this is our chance to Bowmasters. I think we're going to do it because they took us off black, and now they can Tamio. They can brainstorm in response if they want to. Wow, I can't believe Bowmaster's resolved there. That's such a win for us. I'm going to definitely protect it with force if necessary because I don't think they have days anymore. All right. Yeah, I didn't expect the game to be going in this direction. Like, I definitely did not expect for Bowmasters to resolve there. If they have their own Bowmasters, that's pretty catastrophic. Netherglyph's not a big deal. I do think taking out Tamio is a higher priority. Let's see what we draw. Okay, our own Tamio. Okay, so options. I think if we just get the Netherglyph off the table and play our own Tamio, that's not terrible. Netherglyph will keep coming back. We can start attacking and applying a little bit of pressure. Yeah, I think that's fine. And we have lots of things we can do if they flip their Tamio, which I don't think they're going to be able to flip her with the cards we're showing right now. I guess the question is, do we want to... I think we do want to go ahead and Tamio here because they didn't have the days last time. So I think force is going to be good. Like, I mean, there's certainly a chance that they draw a days or that they're just... I think 99% of the time you do days that Bowmaster there if you have the ability. Okay. So here they come. I am going to block this just in case they have Kaito. I'll be sad if they... so they already played the land, but I will be sad if they eventually waste me off of my wasteland. If they crack a clue, I'll be so happy. They're playing a frog, which is... Do we force this? I think if there's ever a card to force, it's probably this. I don't think we need to defend anything. Yeah, I'm going to go for it. If they force back, that's not the end of the world. Okay, they didn't. All right, so now we press our advantage here. Murktide. It's a sick draw. Gosh, I think we just go for it. Are we doing this? I'm going to go ahead and attack with everything first. Create a clue. I do think we go ahead and Murktide here. I think that's just the highest likelihood of ending the game effectively. They could definitely have drawn a daze, but I'm pretty sure they would have used it there if they had the option. Blue. They could certainly stick their own Murktide, but it won't be as big as ours because they don't have any instants or sorceries in their graveyard. Wow. All right. They have maybe 2 answers to Murktide in their entire deck. They have the Brazen Borrower and then maybe 2 Brazen Borrowers and a Go for the Throat and maybe a 3rd removal spell. That's fine. Not swinging in with the Tamio. Any sort of removal would be good here. I guess we swing in with Murktide because if we start triggering Bowmaster when they connect, I don't think it's the end of the world and we're going to deal a lot of damage to them. What happens if they do jump the frog and invest a lot in it? I think it's unlikely that they do that. We'll get a clue anyway. I'm going to go ahead and play the land. I am going to attack with Tamio. Let's see how they block. If they X out cards to jump the frog, they are getting it's going to be harder for them to jump over the Bowmaster. And I can just stonewall them with Orc Army. Not stonewall them, but jump with Orc Army. Okay, they're doing it. They pitched an Undercity. They pushed another Netherglyph. Okay. I think we can go ahead and crack this. And if we draw a plow, we're so lucky. We didn't. So Tamio is going to die. But they're down quite a few cards. And when they attack, they're going to... Okay, that is such a weird block. I don't think that makes any sense. They should have just killed our Tamio there. All right, I'll take it. I mean, this daze is going to be great, too. I think there's a high likelihood this daze hits something. They're very far away from bringing Netherglyph back. Ponder's fine. I'm just going to ping them directly. I'm just going to go after the life total. This also means that they're using a lot of mana, so they're likely to walk into a daze. Or, not walk into, but they have no choice but to play into daze, and I will have the daze. Just hit them. Yeah, if they had blocked the Tamio there, they would be in a lot better shape than they are now. This Fatal Push, we're just going to daze it. Just get this back. Insulate it from them doing stuff. They're probably going to concede here. I can't imagine how they win from here. We are going to have to win one on the play, though, or on the draw. Okay, so I think we just let them connect because they're going to take so much damage here. I don't want to chump and lose my Orc Army. Oh, they get to flip Tamio. But that doesn't really matter. They're still dead on board. That actually is bad because now they don't have a blocker. Yeah, they're dead on board. Okay, they're scooping as they realize they're dead on board now. I don't think they meant to flip their Tamio there. That's one of the things I would have missed in paper. If they if they missed it, I probably would have missed it. Okay, so I don't think we change anything. Daze is worse on the draw, but it's still it can still find a home. I think it's still better than Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize on the draw is pretty bad. Yeah, I think we just run it back. I love this matchup. I could play this all day. Tempo on tempo. It's like the high skill matchup. I mean, like lots of high skill matchups like tempo on control, tempo on combo. Those are all fun. This is a keep. We don't have... I mean, this is a hand where we could just frog a whole bunch. I like the basic planes. I'm not going to throw this back, even though I don't like this Force of Will particularly. It might come in handy. We're just going to see how explosive they are. They have to take the initiative. We are the bigger tempo deck. Okay. Always like to see opponents sculpting. I think we probably open planes rather than Underground Sea because we are going to wait as long as possible to brainstorm just because we want to maximize the likelihood of finding a fetch land so it can break our brainstorm. We'll see what we draw. A fetch for a basic island would be insane. It wouldn't be insane, but it'd be good. That's great. It's not great, actually. That's bad, but it'll help. We'll use it. So basically, just be patient. We've got 9 minutes on the clock to their 11. They frog here. We probably have to force. I don't like it, but I think it's correct. I do think I'm going to pitch a force. Yeah, I'm going to pitch a force here. If they force back, that sucks. They are forcing back. Yep. And they could easily run away with it here. And there is definitely danger here. I didn't want to pitch like a good card. No. Or we could just draw the best card possible. I am going to play this out, and I'm just going to go ahead and plow now. You don't mess around with Frog. All right. So, that was an even trade, basically. But their hand is smaller than ours by virtue of being on the play. All right. What do they have here for us? Nothing. This tells me they probably have Bowmasters. I think I'm just going to play this out and chill. And if she eats a plow or a push, she eats a push. I definitely want my opponent to put their cards on the table here, though. I guess I could have passed back and then brainstormed. Oh, wow. I'll take it. Yeah, that's great for us. So I imagine there is a Bowmaster in their hand. If there's a Wasteland, then we're in double trouble. Yeah, there it is. So we could have just chilled and brainstormed in response and got rid of some of these bad brainstorms. I do regret pitching Force to Force. I should have pitched Brainstorm to Force. I got lucky and drew the plow, but it was loose. I just love my brainstorms, and sometimes you forget that they're not always a great card. They're Hellbent over there. No knowledge of what they're drawing, but it'll probably be a Wasteland knowing my luck. Okay. Coming in for 2. All right. Wow. Could be another Bowmasters in their hand. That's so good. All right. We're going to go ahead and just frog. And then I will happily pitch these brainstorms to keep my my frog alive if I need to. But I think we'll see what they have. They probably have removal. They would probably use removal there just to be mana efficient if they had it. Not attacking. So frog is being a good wall. All right, this is fine. I think we just frog again. They do not have sweepers in their deck. We can hit a surveil land here. I don't like growing their army. I think I'm just going to chill. I do love the fact that we have so much land, though. So whichever land they waste, we'll just grab a replacement for that. If they don't waste anything, I probably will surveil. They play their own frog. That's fine. It's a 1-for-1. All right, I think I'm going to surveil. I don't think they're going to attack. Black is the more important. Oh, actually, there's no reason not to get black because we already have the planes. That is freaking nutty. It's precisely what we wanted to draw. So we have the option of them. Maybe they just block the frog. Maybe they double block it. I'll be interested to see what they do here. I don't want to put any counters on. I'm just going to do this. They have force blue card. That'll be devastating. Okay, now I can just attack. I do kind of want to fly and connect. Yeah, I think it's worth it. 1, 2, 3. We'll leave the instants and sorceries in our graveyard. We'll draw a card here. Okay, this is not a great draw. I'm going to try to put this back. I play a land for turn already? I didn't. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think I did. So we can shuffle some of this away. Prismatic Ending's not bad. I think we probably play a Tamio here. Daze is not great. I think we put it back. I think we put this back because this is really good against them. And now I'm just going to play out Tamio, and then I have Brainstorm. I probably should have kept Daze in hand, but I do know that it's on top if I need it. Bowmasters would be devastating here. We are very lucky. Okay, I think I'm just going to attack with both of these. And if they want to block, they're going to have to make the first move. I don't really want to get rid of cards from my graveyard here. Okay, they are blocking. Let's see if they have any other game actions to take. I think it's not safe to brainstorm here. I'm just going to chill. Eventually, they are going to have to play out cards. In step, I will go ahead and attempt to draw. Okay. Yep. I'm pretty sure they don't have Bowmasters. I'm going to go ahead and attack first. I do have Daze for Hardcast Force, if that's what they're thinking of doing here. That would be a card that they would be holding at this point. Draw trigger. We're just going to play super slow and conservative. Got 5 minutes on the clock. It's a great rip. I think I'm going to go ahead and go black, blue, frog, and we're just going to snowball them. Okay, they are, it looks like going for the Hardcast Force. So we are going to be able to daze this if that's what they do. And this is going to be super consequential, I believe. Frog's in. Play our land. Daze is an incredible card. You might be asking, like, shouldn't you just flip her and start going upstairs? I genuinely don't think... she'll flip next turn naturally. I mean, this is kind of almost comical. I do think we want to deploy the Bowmasters, but maybe that's a mistake. Let's see what they take. I'm going to draw a lot of cards. They're dealing 2 damage to themselves, which is of note and consequential at this stage of the game. Took our Bowmasters. Okay. I am just going to go ahead and draw here. Be mana efficient. Okay, another Prismatic Ending. Prismatic Ending just is such a backbreaking card against them. Force. Let's go ahead and attack with everything. Get another clue. Deal 2 damage. 4 minutes and a half on the clock. Tamio flips. We draw a Daze. Draw a Ponder. Plusser. I think it's fine to just hold up interaction. Yeah, we have 7 cards in hand. We can buy back a Plow if they have some devastating creature. And this is just something we can end, which I think is fine. Yeah, Murktide is so much better than Beargoyf. Don't let your friends tell you otherwise. Murktide is just insane here. They don't even get any life. Yeah, and we can Kaito. So I think we just exile and swing. Yeah, I definitely want to draw a land here. And then I'm just going to plus Tamio. If I don't draw a land, I'll just ponder and hopefully find a land that way. This is the kind of like embarrassment of riches that, like, how do you even screw up at this point? I think there's a decent chance that we find a land here. Yeah, double land. So I think I'll just play the Murktide next turn as a way to just close the game. Play this out. I think we have to discard 2 cards. I could have probably played out the Tamiyo. I'm going to discard Tamiyo, and I think we discard a Daze. That's fine. I can easily end that even if she flips. I think I'm just going to end it anyway. Let's go ahead and start by ending it, and then if they do something to flip her, I'll just kill it when I attack. They have 1 card in hand. If they brainstorm, I'll just Bowmasters. Let's go ahead and attack. I'm not going to discard cards. They're dead next turn anyway to Murktide. So we draw the land. We draw an unknown. That's a good card. I'm just going to go ahead and get a blue source here. And like, this is kind of what I was telling you. Like, we just are so much bigger than them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Blue. Like, I'm not even bothering using Kaito. It'll just use time. Yeah, I'll just pass. And, I didn't even plus Tommy. I forgot. Yeah, it shouldn't matter. I am going to go ahead and do this in step. If they force again, I can just daze it. They're so dead. I'm just going to go ahead and regrow force here. That does buff our Murktide. Yeah, good games. So just being patient, taking them apart. That's how the game's supposed to go. And I'm going to go eat with my kids. And for you, you're just going to see next round, but that's actually going to be tomorrow. So I'll see you in a sec. Round 2, we're 1-0. We were up against Kilroy was here. Kilroy was here, of course, being a reference to the Styx Domo Arigato Mr. Roboto song and the album. This hand is tight. Let's see what they're likely on. Likely on depths of some form or another. I think we go ahead and we just jam the Thoughtseize here. We have a lot of angles covered. We're not going to play on basics. We're going to be brave. I think we Thoughtseize and then hopefully jam a Psychic Frog if we can clear the removal or whatever they're going to use to try to kill us. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and lead with Delta specifically because I have another one and because I think that we want to look like we're just straight blue-black. Reanimator. We have that advantage of being able to camouflage ourselves as the scariest combo deck in the format. They are playing the scariest combo deck in the format, but with a Bayou in tow. Interesting. Well, we're going to strand a bunch of bad cards in their hand. So yeah, that was a great Thoughtseize right there. We would have gotten trolled for sure next turn. Now we do have a plow, so it wouldn't have been the end. Are they just straight black-green? They're not even bothering getting blue. I think that's good for us because that implies they're more of a combo deck. Okay, they're cycling the troll. They're getting another Surveil land. So they're trying to put something powerful in or just find a reanimate effect. Dude, did they just Surveil that? Oh my goodness, that's not good for us. Okay, so I think what we do is we probably just frog. I mean, there's definitely danger that they can reanimate that. I don't think Wasteland is good. Wasteland does shut off Metamorphosis Fanatic as something they can do, but they have a third land. The other option is instead of frogging, we could ponder. I kind of like pondering and then seeing if we can find a force or a daze. I don't think these cards are good. I'm going to shuffle them. We're specifically looking for force, daze, or another Thoughtseize. Maybe. Well, Thoughtseize wouldn't be good. I think I'm just going to Wasteland. And this shuts off the out of them flipping Metamorphosis Fanatic. I wouldn't be surprised if they had 4 Metamorphosis Fanatics in their deck. Also, there's not really a point in putting Psychic Frog out there if they're going to be able to just kill it. Okay, what is this? Yggdrasil. Okay, so They get to immediately exile a bunch of stuff. This is pretty bad news. We're going to need to now disrupt their mana more. So they immediately get those 2 cards under, and if they can start putting stuff into play, it's going to be very scary. So I think what I'm going to do is ponder and try to find another wasteland. Of course, we could potentially find... Okay, we did find the wasteland and the force. I don't want the Undercity sewers ever. Force is good to have, but what we're really looking to do is just waste them off of that tomb. Keep them from being able to activate. So we're attacking them on the angle of stopping them from really using that. They can still, activate and put cards underneath it. We need to find a prismatic ending because they're just going to have like a non-ending parade of scary stuff. There's the Thoughtseize. This is going to probably take our plow. Interesting. Well, that does make our force of will that we're about to draw a lot worse. I think we're just going to be surveilling here. We've got a terrible hand. Now they know we're on white, so we can't really hide there. So they're going to exile some cards here. And we just have to keep them off 4. If they find an Ancient Tomb, we're screwed. If they flip Metamorphosis Fanatic, we're pretty screwed. They did. We can't interact. They're going to get back nothing because they don't have anything in their graveyard. So this is not actually the worst. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and surveil anyway. I'm not going to plow this immediately. I'll plow it next turn. Nothing in their graveyard because of Yggdrasil. You love to see the kind of dysenergy in their deck. All right, let's go get the surveil land here because we don't want to draw the Underground Seal on top anyway. That is a blue card for force, but I feel like we need to be more proactive than that. A Brainstorm fixes our hand completely if we can find that. All right, we're not going to get much reprieve here. Yeah, I think we probably... Do we just plow this so they don't gain the life? I think we probably have to. I'm going to see what they do first before they go to combat. Yeah, I'm not feeling good about this game at all. I feel like we had a great opening, but we've just drawn a ton of land. This is... Each player gains control of all creatures they own. Okay, interesting. So this is basically just in case of Gilded Drake or something like that, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and plow this. I'm totally aware that they're going to be putting stuff into play. If they start putting stuff into play, we lose anyway. Prismatic Ending is good here. Another plow is not the worst, but I'm feeling pretty dead here. They have so many things they can draw. Force of Will is not online yet. Exiling some cards. What do they have? They have Troll. They have, of course, any land does it. Harvester of Misery. Exsanguinary Cavalry. This is not something that I'm too scared about. In fact, I'll probably just leave this in play. It does let them, blood tokens do let them cycle. Actually, maybe we do want to just plow this. My reasoning is we won't have mana to plow later. And if they get to where they're activating Yggdrasil, we're dead anyway. Blood tokens are going to be a pain. I think I'm just going to plow now. Call me a coward. But I want to have mana for Force of Will if it comes down to it. Please don't be a land. Okay, well, I guess I'll take this. Just going to hit their land right now. And we're going to pass and we're just going to chill. And I'm feeling pretty dumb for plowing that. But I think this result-oriented thinking. Vexing Bobble's annoying. But it shouldn't have any impact on the game. It's just a dead draw. Wouldn't be surprised if they draw through it. Can we please draw something interactive? I think we actually do play this out. Yeah, I'm going to play it out, and I'm just going to start hitting them. I'll pretend that I have a plow in hand. So next turn, we can double our draw rate. They'll probably crack this bauble. I'm amazed they didn't crack the bauble. 3 lands. Okay, no play. We can still find Wasteland number 4 and keep them off Yggdrasil, or we can find Bowmasters is not good. I'm going to start by attacking. I'm going to discard a card because I'm certain that we don't need this land. Just do an extra damage here. Draw a card. Please be something good. Prismatic Ending, maybe. Another Psychic Frog. I think I'm going to play it. Black, blue, and we're going to see if we're dead. Like, if they activate this, we are dead. There's no point in pretending otherwise. If they crack their bauble, I am going to Bowmasters them. Dark Ritual does it. Yeah, we're going to get a freaking run over here. They're going to activate. Unless they have something else. 4 mana. Okay, now they're going to put a creature card. I am just going to concede. Well, actually, let's see what they do. Because I can just Bowmasters here, and it's not the worst. Okay, so that trigger is going to go on the stack. I'm just going to go get a Underground Sea here. And I'm just going to blue, black, Bowmasters. It gets haste, too. So we're going to take a ton of damage here. I don't think we're dead. We're going to be going to like 3. We take 6. Okay. So we'll sack that. We'll discard this. We'll lose 3 life. This will hit them again. Okay. We get another creature. They can attack in. By the way, this doesn't die at the end of turn. It's not like sneak attack or whatever. Okay, so we're going to just lose that. Ping them again. We get our construct or our Orc Army back. We take 6. We're not dead. Like, if we find a plow, we could survive. I think that's it. I think that's the only card that can do it. But we do have 3 potential looks. This chump blocker doesn't matter because we're just dead. In fact, I'm just going to attack with everything. There is an argument to brainstorm or to minimize, to fetch the thin, but I see how many lands we have left in our deck. I think we have like 1. If we do stabilize, I'm going to wish I had this land here. Okay, we did find a brainstorm. So let's go ahead and brainstorm. We're going to be able to shuffle away these 2 cards. I think Tamio both. No, we can do like that. I'm going to go ahead and grab just another Tundra here. Now I'm going to ponder. Prismatic Ending is too late. Any order. We're looking for one of our plows. Good game. Yep, that was brutal. I don't know that we made any mistakes. Like I do think that Exsanguinary Cavalry did need to go. We would be dead if we just chilled and let the Metamorphosis Fanatic hit us. Yeah, Exsanguinary, like that's such a weak card. I'm actually really surprised that people are playing it. I think Surgical comes in. Prismatic Ending is very relevant against Exsanguinary and let's talk about what we cut here. I think Bowmasters doesn't do very much here at all. We didn't see any cards other than Bauble. Bowmasters, of course, does answer Archon, but it's like super weak in my humble opinion. Like it's not what you want to be doing. Is Kaito good? I think Kaito is good enough. But without Bowmasters to trigger it, it is a little harder to get Kaito into play. We are pretty skinny on win cons, but we may not need a lot of win cons. We may just need to kill them quickly. So we've got to cut 3 more cards. I think we cut the island. I don't anticipate them having any sort of like anti-basic stuff. Anti-non-basic. I do think with Yggdrasil and like the Exsanguinator Cavalry, we do want Prismatic Ending in. Prismatic Ending does deal with a lot of stuff. It also deals with Vexing Bauble. We want to keep all of our stack disruption in. Maybe we could cut this and one of these. Not sure about it. Grafdigger's Cage sadly does not stop the thing that they're using because they get exiled. I still think it's good though. They're definitely still playing a lot of reanimation effects. Yeah, I think we're gonna run it like this. Just going to try to disrupt them and kill them with Frog and Murktide. Like, those are really the only two win cons in our deck. But they should be enough. I didn't see any interaction from their deck. Like, I didn't see any fatal pushes or anything like that. So I think they're basically like black-red Reanimator, but with like, I'm not sure what the green is for. This is a really good hand. I'm going to keep this. I'm not going to snap keep it though, because I don't want them to know. I want them to think that I labored over it, but this is going to be a Thoughtseize into Surgical if they have something really key. Okay, so we'll keep. That's what our deck is for shredding combo decks. So let's shred some combo decks. Don't be fearful. As terrifying as Archon of Cruelty is, we are the scary control deck. Okay, so they do have Fatal Push and Harvester of Misery. That's good to know about. What does this do exactly? So it is basically just like you can discard it to potentially kill a frog. This doesn't really affect us. This doesn't even affect Tamio. This doesn't hit anything in our deck. We can just discard a card to frog to dodge this. Fatal Push, however, is an issue, but we got to take the namesake. And I'm just going to pass. If they put the Yggdrasil, man, one day I'll like learn how to pronounce that. Okay, let's see. They kept, that's good. They didn't surveil like an Archon in their graveyard. They do have to figure out a way to get Archon into their graveyard before they can use it. Frog would be great. We're not doing anything this turn. We could just, we don't have to worry about days though. I think I'm going to go ahead and ponder here. Just as long as I find a blue card. I don't find a blue card, so I'm super punished here for pondering. Maybe I should have just held that. I don't think Wasteland, the Fatal Tomb, they do have a basic swamp. We can cut them off green with a Wasteland. Slow their roll. Maybe that's the best thing, is to just slow them down a little bit. Then next turn we can Undercity Sewer, and we can put the, because I do want to keep Prismatic Ending. So I think what I do is I want to draw the Wasteland, and then I'll draw Prismatic Ending the following turn. I want to hit the Ancient Tomb with Wasteland, so I'm going to give them a turn to use it. So I think what I do here is I draw the Wasteland, and now I'll just surveil the fetch away. I don't expect them to interact with our mana base at all. I do feel pretty dumb about taking Soft Force, though. I think that was a misplay. If they have like a Thoughtseize or something, like our entire strategy falls apart. Yeah, they have the Thoughtseize. I'm going to let it happen. They could definitely draw another Reanimate, but at this point, maybe I do hit the green source. They don't seem to have another green source. We're drawing a Prismatic Ending, which is not a spectacular draw. They actually took the Force, interestingly, which makes me think they may have the Yggdrasil thing. They're not going to know that we have Prismatic Ending coming. So I'm just going to chill. Here it is. Oh, this. Well, I'll just Prismatic End this, I think. Because blood tokens like give them a discard outlet and value. Frog is great. They have a Fatal Push, though. I think I'm just going to start by clearing this. If we can find another Thoughtseize, we will... Oh, I could have just... No, because they don't have a Fatal Push in their graveyard. Never mind. If they do cast a Fatal Push, then we could potentially get a second Fatal Push out of their hand, but yeah. Okay, they're casting something that costs 4 mana here. Sylvan Library. Interesting. Now, I see why they have green in their deck. This is potentially problematic. Psychic Frog is just going to get pushed. Do we wait around? I don't think we wait. I think we just get it out of their hand. I'm certainly open to any arguments that this is the wrong play. I'm going to play that out too. And they're going to draw a ton of cards here. They can draw as deep as they want. We could set a stop here. So they draw the cards. I don't know actually if they draw, if we get a chance to interact before we go to main. But I could Surgical Reanimate. That's only one of many things that they can do here. They kept a card. So the question is, do we hit Reanimate here? Because they could easily have drawn a Reanimate, but they still need a discard outlet. I think we just chill. Vexing Bauble. Fatal Push, nothing we can do about it. Passing, okay. And every time they pass, they're looking at tons of cards, getting a ton of potential, lines open to them. Gosh, this is just the worst. Yeah, but we do have Hardcast Force up. We're at least presenting it, even though we don't actually have it. I'm not feeling good about this game. Okay. Murktide could still do it. I doubt they have a way to get rid of Murktide in their deck. 2 cards with Sylvan. Okay, and they put them back. Ghost Vacuum doesn't matter to me. That's like basically a dead card that they drew, in my humble opinion. They actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're actually not that far away from having their own frog. Yeah. Not going to fetch the Thin. That's a chump play. I'm going to draw Brainstorm and put... Okay. So I'm just going to play it now. I'm not going to give them the opportunity to do anything here. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll note that I am getting rid of the Psychic Frog here, so they can't reanimate it or Ghost Vacuum it or anything. Now if they draw a card off of... Sylvan, they're basically putting themselves dead on board. They're exiling our Wasteland, which is fine. There's no way we win this game. That would just be absurd if we were able to somehow win this game. They didn't take the extra cards. Troll's fine. If they attempt to reanimate, that's totally fine too. I'm not actually going to interact with Troll. Surveil land. They can put like a mini Troll into play. Wow, we're still alive. Psychic Frog. I think we do play that out. I'm going to attack first. There was no line that we could have killed them, by the way, if we played the Psychic Frog first. That doesn't matter, and I'm glad that they did that to this, just to save some damage. Now I'm just going to play out my Frog. They may very well have interaction for it, but they're going to be dead to Murktide next turn. So, if necessary, I can just discard the Daze and then exile it. And then Frog will be big enough to kill them next turn, even if they somehow kill my creature. They could put a copy of Harvester of Misery into play. I don't think that would be a particularly strong play, but that is something they could do. Dark Ritual. Okay. Is this Archon? Is this for real? Are we going to actually Daze? They don't have any mana available. We win. Holy cow. I cannot believe we won that game. That was a freaking nail biter. Oh my goodness. Yeah, wow. Like, Sylvan active for like 3 turns. Hardcast, Archon, we were not able to disrupt their mana at all. Okay, so Daze comes out, I think. Daze is really bad against Vexing Bauble, and they have tons of mana. What do we want to bring in? Do we want to bring in Bowmasters? I think Kaito might actually have been decent there. They're unlikely to be able to interact. They may be able to get... they will never be able to Fatal Push Kaito. So I do think that it's totally legit. I like the idea of putting a stun counter on some fatty that they reanimated. I think that's potentially strong. Latsuz is still good. I think this is how we roll it. Surgical did feel pretty bad there, but it did give us kind of like they knew it was in our hand the whole time. I think I'm going to roll it like this. All right, they have mulliganed. Frankly, we should mulligan too. This doesn't seem very strong. I really want to get a Grafdigger's Cage. There we go. This is much better. They do have the first turn, so they could Thoughtseize our Grafdigger's Cage, but I think it's worth the try. I do like having both PE and Plow. Because they're unlikely to interact with our mana, I'm totally fine with putting the Sewers back. And we'll probably just fetch a Tundra. Let's just hope they don't Thoughtseize us. Thoughtseize would absolutely be the strongest thing they could do here. Carpet. Yes. That is totally fine. I'm just going to play out my Wasteland. We don't have very many non-island cards. I think I'll be amazed if they have an answer for Cage. I think I'm going to Cage first. Next turn, I can Prismatic End this and potentially waste them. They did mull pretty deep. I just don't want to get dumpstered. And I think Cage prevents us from getting dumpstered. Okay, 3 mana. They could play the Yidrus thing. There it is. All right, so Wasteland is going to hit their Ancient Tomb and make it harder for them to do this. And then I'm going to PE the Carpet. I definitely could save. Yeah, I don't think it's correct to save mana for that. I'm going to hit that. Now I'm just going to go get Underground Sea. And we're going to Thoughtseize. I'm going to get Tundra and we're going to PE. And then they're not going to have a lot of mana. And we're just going to try to keep their mana low enough that they can't ever use this. But it is on the board, and all they have to do is play lands, and eventually they will beat us. I think they probably have density enough of creatures that if they tap this every turn, which they didn't do for some reason. I think that was a misplay. Did they know what was on top of the deck? I think they just forgot to tap it. I'll take it. Let's see, put a card. So the top 3 cards of your... Yeah, so Cage does not interact at all with this if they are aware of that. All right, another Cage. I mean, I guess we just play the other Cage. No, they don't have a way to get rid of this, and this is going to be Brainstorm back. I'm just going to chill. It sucks, but we're basically in the waiting room for land number 2. Yeah, now they're using it. Holy cow! They found 3 hits. Or they found 2 really good hits. Okay, we're probably going to lose this. This card, not easy to kill. Dark Ritual does it. Lots of things do it here. I'll force a Dark Ritual. Oh my goodness, 1 card from death. 1 card from death. Can we find a Wasteland? We can find a Strand. Strand into Thoughtseize. Yeah, I think... Okay, so options. 1, we just go get the Surveil land, which increases the likelihood of us finding. There's no point in Thoughtseizing, in my humble opinion. Like, they've already got their scary thing on the table. The only point in Thoughtseizing is that we potentially have something else that we can feed to the Murktide to speed up our clock. I think we just hold the Murktide in case they have Dark Ritual, but I'm feeling pretty dead here. I'm going to go ahead and Undercity here just to see what we flip. That is going in the graveyard. So now we have enough to cast Murktide next turn if we don't have to force. If for some reason they go with Archon instead of Volgavoth, I mean, they can do 1 every turn. They just need 1 mana. A single mana and the game is over. This is a Force of Will, sadly. There goes our Murktide. We could have avoided this by Thoughtseizing them. We're going to have to just find Runner Wastelands. Or we could find a single land. I'm going to go ahead and Thoughtseize. If we find a single land to remove this, then they'll have to find a second one. Oh, they do have a second one. Well, I'm just going to hit this. And then if we can find one more land. I dumped a land. Note that I dumped a land. I didn't think about, but I wouldn't have drawn this turn if I hadn't. If we can find a land before they find a land, we can win. This does not matter. I'm just going to plow it. Because if they actually activate this, we're dead. And it doesn't really matter. Land, please. I don't deserve a land. I'm going to play this out. It's going to die instantly if they get... but this might actually inspire them to get Archon instead. It's not going to matter. We're going to die either way. They probably have so many mana sources in their deck. Thoughtseize. Well, that's going to take our ending, unfortunately. Okay. Murktide is good. I'm going to go ahead and hit. The main question is, do we Murktide here or do we just go ahead and crack the clue hoping to find something else? I think we do Murktide here. I mean, it's unlikely that they keep hitting, but it's possible. We have plenty of cards to exile here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm not going to exile the Prismatic Ending because if I can flip Tamio, I can regrow it. Blue, blue. All right, we're probably dead, but I'm going to cling to hope. Hope springs eternal. Don't find a land. Don't find another Dark Ritual. Wow, we're getting so lucky. Brainstorm. Yes. All right. So let's just go ahead and start by attacking. We'll create a clue. We're going to be able to put back at least one dead card here, which is great. And we're going to be able to flip Tamio. If we can find a wasteland and another land, we will be seriously in business. Let's think. Thoughtseize is better than a plow type effect. So I am going to keep the black up. Yeah, I think that's correct. Okay, this is not bad. Actually, we could put a second Murktide on the table. That will grow our original Murktide. And even if they have like an Archon. So let's take a look at this Volgovath card. What does it do? Sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. A card you didn't control would be put into an opponent's graveyard. So it has flying and lifelink, but we can just put a bigger creature in play. So we're going to make ours a 9/9, which can trade with this, and then we'll also have another card. This does have lifelink. Oh, I think it's safer to... What is the right call here? Okay, this is like incredibly difficult. We've got 3 minutes on the clock. Okay, so I think what we do here is... we're never going to be able to plow. Well, actually, we could potentially plow it if they put it in play. I think we're going to go ahead and go for the big guy. So I'll put this back. We'll draw it later. It doesn't matter. I'll play this out. We're just going to go ahead and... We didn't play a land this turn. Oh, yeah, because this is still on the stack. Okay. So the real question is, okay, do we want a giant Murktide? And I think the answer is yes. So we now have a 9/9 Murktide and a 5/5 Murktide. We can sack Tamio if they choose the Archon. Entomb is fine. I'm not sure what they would put in the graveyard that would be good here. They put another Entomb. That makes sense. Do they have the land? They have the land! Okay. They're putting a creature into play. It is Archon. I think we sack Tamio. Or do we sack... Yeah, sadly, I think we sack Tamio. No, they get haste so they can attack. Yeah. They're getting a bunch of life. We can plow it next turn and attack, but they can just put the other one in play. I don't think we're winning this. I could have sacked this. Now it's attacking. And now we're losing this too. Yep, the trigger. Boom. We lose some life. They gain some life. Yeah, that sucks. I don't think we wouldn't have been able to regrow in time. So we're drawing a plow. We can plow here. Then they can put that in play and kill us. What's our top card other than this? I think it's something that doesn't matter. I can't remember what it was. I think it's just another Grafdigger's Cage. So they can do this again. Yeah, I think we're cooked. I'm trying to think if there's anything we can do here. Draw a card. We plow. Then they just put that in and they have a hasty one. It doesn't have lifelink. They attack, we trade. They still have this on the table though. They can just activate it every turn. I don't see how we win. Yep. That sucks. That really sucks. We were very close, but what did we learn? This is the first time I've played against a dedicated kind of Reanimator Yggdrasil deck. What did we learn? Okay, let's say hypothetically, we would have had to sack both of those. We would have had to sack both Tamio and one of our Murktides. If we sacked both Murktides, there'd be no hope. We could plow and then return to plow, and we'd have to sacrifice 3 things. They still have their engine online. Yeah, that was brutal. Let's go to game 3, or round 3. We are 1-1. Round 3, we're up against a likely blue-black tempo player. We're on the draw. I like this hand. I like the prismatic ending. Kaito is slow. It probably won't come out for a while, but I think this is good if they are on what is called Dimir Delver. If they're not on that, we'll see. This is a card that like blue-black decks sometimes play to get their swamp. All right, fetching Thoughtseize. That's probably going to take prismatic ending. This suggests to me that they don't have a lot of lands in hand. They're fetching basic swamp. All right. Yeah, and they did indeed take prismatic ending. I think the best call here... I mean, we're going to have to play through their wastelands. I think we just Island Ponder, or Tundra Ponder. I'm not going to play scared. We are going to look for lands, though. We found them. So this, I don't want to draw. I'm not going to... I'll just draw the island. Next turn, I'll probably play island, and then we have the option of getting Bowmasters online. I don't think they're going to play anything we absolutely have to plow in the next turn cycle. Bowmasters into Kaito is quite strong. It can't be countered when you cast it with ninjitsu. This is fine. They know we have a plow in hand, so I assume they have a force. We could... no, I'm gonna attempt to plow it. And then if they get a hit in, they get a hit in. They're gonna have to 2-for-1 themselves to force this. Yeah, there's the force. I think at this point we could get Brainstorm out of our hand just out of caution, knowing that they likely are playing Bowmasters. I think I'm gonna do that. All right, and we found a second plow. So we'll be using that next turn. I think we hide it. And we probably don't need the additional land. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll just go like that. And then I can fetch the Tundra next turn. But we are definitely going to plow that frog. Okay, here's a wasteland. Not unexpected. They're down to 2 cards. The card they pitched to force, by the way, I need to get better at looking at that, is Brainstorm. So they are going to get a card draw here. They're going to go up to 3 cards. Right. So I'm going to draw the plow. I'm going to go fetch a Tundra. And we're going to attempt to plow. All right, we got it. Now we just chill. They may waste us again. We have another land. At some point, Bowmasters will come out, but I don't want to get dazed. They're not casting anything. This makes you think they may have Murktide. That would be a card that they would have. Or they could have more stack-based interaction. Just going to chill. They could also have Bowmasters. We could bait the Bowmasters out, but then we have to be able to actually successfully resolve Bowmasters in order to take their Bowmasters out. I'm just going to wait and see if they do it in step. Because they may sense that they need to do something here. All right, they're being very patient. The hallmark of a good tempo player, holding back. If we cast the first Bowmasters, there's certainly a chance that they could cast their own. However, I think I'm willing to try this. Because we have the option of getting Kaito out next turn, which would be very sweet. Yeah, and if they just Bowmaster our Bowmaster, I'm going to be sad. I think they're going to remove this. Yep. Okay, so we did trade for a removal spell, and we do have a token that can help us get an uncounterable Kaito out next turn. They are tapped out currently. If they have a Wasteland, that would be really bad. We do have a Ponder to look for land number 3. We did throw land number 3 away with the hope that they wouldn't have extra Wastelands. Now they are kind of incentivized to push the token. That's great value. They don't want Kaito. They don't want any of that. All right, so Bowmasters was a 2-for-1. That's great. I think we just chill and we attempt to Bowmasters them again. And I'll probably just end step it. But if they do cast a cantrip, I want to be able to punish it. Yep. I think we still Bowmasters here. Do we? Oh, please play your own Bowmasters. A Murktide. Well, what do we have to deal with Murktide? Nothing. We've cast two of our plows, so we're going to need to find one of those. So I think this turn, I'm going to go ahead and Bowmaster. I could stun lock it with Kaito, but I can't both remove the frog and hit the Murktide in the same turn cycle. I think we're going to start by pondering just to maximize looks at Plow. If we find a Plow, we'll be very happy. These cards are not good enough. Any order shuffle. Daze is not good. I think we have to just kick back for a turn. I'm going to play this out and I can fetch a Surveillant, but I am going to go ahead and remove this. Now. Don't want any of that. They Daze here. Oh, they don't have any cards in hand. Never mind. All right, so I'm trying to think of what Daze could convert into. We can Kaito and stun next turn, and I think that's what we're going to do, is if they attack, we'll let it through, and then we'll Kaito stun. And that will not give us enough time to win. Good games. Wow. That's so weird that they're conceding. They know that Kaito's coming. I'm really sad that this that they're conceding. They must have some like IRL thing. Said we couldn't play this out. But Zonic, shout out to you. Keep tempoing. Keep fighting the good fight, the control deck. So I mean we take those free wins, but I think we're favored structurally, but it's always good to fight. And no matter how favored a matchup is, well, there are matchups that are like 100-0. But generally, no matter how favored your deck is, you still have to fight to earn it in Legacy. Like any given Sunday, right? So I do think that we built our deck specifically to be able to beat those kinds of decks. And yeah, I wish we could showcase that, but we did showcase it in round 1. So we're 2-1 going into round 4. All right, we're up against somebody with a 4-letter username, which can't be easy to come upon. Yawn. So, Yawn is likely on Riddlesmith. Okay, this is old, but they are, a dirty combo player. I think this hand is fine. I don't think this hand is good enough. This is a much better hand. My goodness, this hand is great. So I think we put back the Plow and we can find it later if it's clear that we need it. But a lot of times you don't need it. Yeah. And yeah, that might come to haunt us, but my plan is to pitch Kaito and to get Tamio out and start. This might very well be Riddlesmith. It's looking like LED. I'm just going to counter the card. The Echo, assuming that's what they're going to do here. Vexing Bauble, you dirty cheater. Well, I'm going to counter that because that affects subsequent cards, sadly. And now we're going to Echo. Whoa, they didn't have it. Okay, can we find another force? Okay, so options. 1, we could just play a Tamio and invest in the future. 2, we could desperately dig to find a force effect, which we're unlikely to find. I think I'm going to Tamio and take my chances here. I'm not sure what the likelihood of us dying, if they do have the combo, is. They do have to naturally draw to it unless they're shocking that in. So they have Gamble. Riddlesmith. Okay, so they are on Riddlesmith combo. Do they have any more artifacts? They do. So they're going to be able to loot. They're Hellbent with that bauble or that Chrome Box on the table. Yeah, a lot of people have been complaining after Eternal Weekend about Vexing Bubble. I saw a poll from Bob Huang, very legendary Magic the Gathering player, and I think 70% of the people who responded said they wanted a ban on Vexing Bubble. 71%. It's like even higher than Frog. A lot of people want Frog ban too, of course. I think the play here is Island, Ponder, Plow. And there's always a chance that we find a Force of Will. I will take the Force of Will. However, I'm not super stoked about it. Yeah, we're going to need a black source. But we do have blue card Force, and we do have Tamio creating clues each turn. So that's not nothing. And once we get Bowmasters online, it's just going to snipe this and it's going to wreck their entire day. It'll be very hard for them to win through a Resolve Bowmaster, I believe. All right, they have another axis upon which they can attack us. We're going to take 2 here. So that Urza Saga is going to be a serious problem. All right, so I'm just going to attack and draw a clue, and we're going to pass because we're just drawing a Thoughtseize that we can't cast. I guess it makes sense to draw the clue later, just in case they do, like, make us spin our hand. We can draw it end step. And there's a small chance that we do find a force and time, or a because yeah, we're gonna have to deal with the constructs, and they're gonna just go get another Vexing Bubble, of course, because that's how Urza Saga works. So we'll take that. At this point, Thoughtseize isn't even good. Maybe I shouldn't have kept that Ponder. Maybe that was a bad keep. Like, my instinct was, oh, Force of Will. Yeah, we want that. Okay, so we're through the bad cards. So we have 2 more looks at a potential. Well, there's the Plow. The problem is we Plow here. Let's see, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6. We're getting attacked for 12. So we have the option of not plowing here and just chilling. They're not going to put a single spell on the stack. Man, this is a tough question because they're going to hit us for potentially 12, potentially, more if they had potentially 12 or 13. No, it'd be 13 if they have the Lava Spur Boots. I think what we do is plowing Riddlesmith is probably playing to not lose. I think we draw. I'm not happy. No, wait. What could we draw that would be good here? We could draw a fetch, which we could use, but we wouldn't be able to use the fetch to go get Plow because we need the black source for Orcish Bowmasters. Oh, man, this is tough. This is really tough. We're going to have a Tamio chilling in our hand because we're not going to be able to use Force. I think we're totally screwed. Like, I think this is just going to solo us. And the resulting bubble. Can we get a land? Wasteland would be fine. It would stem the tide. I think we lose. I'm not going to show them any more on my deck. Because what they have is they have these giant things, and we can plow, but we're just, it's going to take too long to get out of the hole with this. And with Vexing Bobble on, it's just a matter of time before they draw their combo. That may be a premature concession, but if that felt totally unwinnable. Okay, good news. We have Bowmasters, which is very strong. We have Consign to Memory, which is historically strong against, artifact-heavy decks, Prismatic Endings. I think we cut the Plows. I don't think they're good. The reason I don't think they're good is because Prismatic Ending is simply better. It can hit lots of different things. Kaito's pretty weak here. It's a blue card to pitch the Force, but that's about it. Daze is not great here. We might want to cut a couple Dazes even on the play. I don't think we cut Daze on the play. I'm going to cut an island, though. We don't need 20 lands. They're not going to be wasting us. That leaves us with... We could cut a Murktide. I think Bowmasters is way better than Murktide because Murktide is going to take several attacks. But that said, Murktide is going to be good against constructs if they get some tall constructs. I think we go like this. Just double checking. Grafdigger's Cage doesn't have any interaction with them because they exile the cards. They're not casting them from their graveyard. Yeah, I'm going to do that. This is the first time I played against the Riddlesmith deck, the Riddler, in, months. So Yawn may be the only person playing it actively. This is a Thoughtseize hand with Prismatic Ending. I love Thoughtseize in this match. I'm going to keep this. Tamio coming out turn 2 is not terrible. I'm gonna Thoughtseize. And our mana's fine. Against these explosive turn 1 decks, Thoughtseize is often better than Force. Because we saw there, we had Force, but it didn't matter because Vexing Bobble's in the format. And Vexing Bobble, was threatening. Okay, so the card we take here is Gamble, but they have the scary alternate plan of Urza Saga, Ancient Tomb, Urza Saga. If we take LED, that does reduce the size of their constructs. They can gamble for an LED. They don't actually have mana to cast LED or to cast Gamble. I think I'm going to gamble and take LED instead. Is that crazy? I don't think that's crazy. Call me crazy. All right. I'm going to pass. Their hand is still incredibly strong. Urza Saga just gives them a great alternative win con. but they don't have a lot of artifacts, so the constructs may not be so scary so quickly, and we may actually get a decent chance. It's crazy that they can play a whole bunch of 0-drops and Vexing Bauble in the same deck. Like, I do believe that giving the ability to like sacrifice the Vexing Bauble is an R&D mistake. I agree with the people who are saying that. Okay, so I want to be able to surveil. I'm just going to play out Tamio, and we're going to pass. Prismatic Ending in an absolute pinch can take out one of their constructs. It's not an ideal use of it, but it can be done. And they have no reason to do anything. They will just simply win the game by just playing lands, basically. That's how scary Ancient Tomb with Urza Saga is. Ancient Tomb easily being the best card in Legacy. Psychic Frog doesn't really do anything here. Like, I like the idea of attacking. I like the idea of flipping Tamio. I think it's too slow, and I think Murktide does what we need it to do a little faster. Murktide's going to be pretty small initially. 4/4. Am I being crazy by putting back a Frog? Frog can get big and potentially block constructs. I think we keep Frog. Frog and Murktide have synergy. We can get a giant Murktide, and then we can just potentially kill a construct every turn. The real question is, do we even want to play at the land at this point? Because we may need... So Frog could be immediately... it'll be a 2/2, then it'll be a 3/3, then it'll be a 4/4. So 4/4, Frog can definitely pitch enough cards. Like, we could actually pitch both days and Prismatic Ending if we need to, and the land. I think I'm not going to play with the land. That might be completely bonkers. I'm going to attack. Create the clue. But yes, my understanding, based on my math, is that our Frog can be big enough to block, and then we can just drop the Murktide, and that'll be big too. And we're just going to be on pure defense mode until we draw. I don't even know what we draw. If they get a needle here, that'll suck. If they can needle our Frog, but I think we just have to live in that world. I'm not going to preemptively toss my hand. If they get Vexing Bauble and they don't have mana to crack it, which they will, because they're going to play an Urza Saga, then we can potentially... Okay, they have the extra Bauble, so now we can't keep up with these constructs even if we want to. They are going to get through. Let me think about this. Yeah, we're definitely not pitching Murktide. I'll just take the 5. Sadly. If we can find a... Okay, Ponder is good. I want to find a Wasteland. I'm going to try to Ponder into a Wasteland. This does grow our Murktide. Okay, there we found the Wasteland. So I think we do waste here, and then we probably just end. We can't end in the same turn cycle, though. Let's see. They have another Ancient Tomb. That is known, and they have a Gamble, which they can now cast off of Mox Opal. So they could gamble, and they could make us spin. So we don't want this Tundra ever. We will take this Psychic Frog. The real question is, do we go ahead and make a Murktide that it's going to just be 5/5? It's not big enough. We can make it a 7/7, though. I think we just need to waste. Okay, they're floating. They are gambling here, I presume. A Braid? Do we want to protect this? Oh, we definitely could have attacked first, huh? Are we dead when they attack here? No. Next turn, we can play a Murktide. We'll be so low in life. Next turn. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm like thinking so hard about this, but it is like an important play. Because if they flip Tamio, then they can just attack in and kill her anyway. My intuition is we just let this happen. We've already pondered. We can flip her this turn and we can minus these. And they'll probably be incentivized to attack her. Yeah, I think I am going to just daze here. I hope I'm not like screwing something up by doing this. Wasteland gets rid of that. They can gamble next turn. I think we do want to flip this. But then if we attack, we're definitely dead. Even if we debuff, like they just need 2 artifacts and then we're dead. Because they'll be attacking. So we'll debuff. They'll probably just attack us. Man, why am I thinking so hard about this? Yeah, they just put us in a freaking pinch, even on the draw. If we don't attack and they attack, we have to pitch our entire hand to survive. I think this is actually like they have to find 2 artifacts. I'm pretty sure they're going to be able to spin. I don't think this clue will be of consequence. Any artifact, literally any artifact, and we're dead. I think we have to keep Tamio back as a chump. And I think we also have to keep this back as a chump. And Frog's not even going to be a good chump. But like if we turn her into a planeswalker, it just accomplishes nothing, in my opinion. I do like the idea of exiling some cards from our graveyard, but we can do that regardless. Yeah, I'm just going to not attack. Call me a total coward and just shout it out in the comments. Timestamp this and be like, you're such a coward. You should have attacked. All right, there's one of the artifacts that they would have needed to kill us. There's the Ancient Tomb we knew they had. So their hand is Gamble. I would not be surprised at all if they were... so I think here we just block with Tamio. We take 6. Next turn we have Big Murktide. Okay, they just pass. Second Frog. I think Big Murktide is what we need to do here. Blue, blue. Murktide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll keep the Wasteland in the deck. This is big enough to trade with one of them, but we can discard and we can make it bigger. Yeah, I don't think we can afford. Sadly, I think Frog is going to chump here. If they have a single artifact, then their construct is big enough. Okay, they're gambling. LED makes their card big enough. Gosh, Urza Saga has just soloed us. Like it's completely warped this game. I'm going to discard this. And I'm going to exile. 1, 2, 3. This is so pathetic that we have to do this, but we have to survive. And of course, they can just, So we're going to kill one of these. We're going to chump. We could have ended one. They're going to almost certainly spin. Oh, they're not going to spin. Okay. So we really need an answer now, like a prismatic ending. That's not an answer. Frog buys us a turn. I'm not going to accept that is the best play, is to just sit there and chump for a turn. I cannot believe it. I refuse to believe it. I think, what are our outs here? Well, we do get an extra wing. We do get an extra turn if we just chump. We can develop our mana a little bit. All right, I convinced myself. Blue or black, blue. All right, and then they have tons of options here. But most likely they're just going to attack and we're going to chump again. Because this gives us 2 looks instead of just 1. If we just crack the clue, we just get 1 look. Because they're going to look at our top card. What did Gamble put in the graveyard? I assumed it would... Oh, they put Grape Shot in the graveyard. Interesting. The saddest frog. They're going to go ahead and take a look at what we're likely to draw. When they looked at our hand, they actually just looked at... So ending is good here. This is not good. All right, so we're going to do this. And if we don't find something good, we're dead. Okay, good games. That was sad. That was really, really sad. I feel like we're well positioned against this deck, but I think I misplayed somehow. I'm not exactly sure. Prismatic Ending on one of the constructs would have been a good play potentially, but I felt like we never had the mana to do that because we wanted to stick other things. But I'm almost certain that there was a window where we could have done that. But losing on the play against a combo deck with your anti-combo deck definitely feels bad. See you in round 5. We are 2-2. Round 5, we are against an unknown opponent on the play. I say unknown, but I think I've played them recently. They said hey again. I think they're maybe on Beanstalk. Oh man. So I can from last time they were on Beanstalk. which does play Wasteland. I don't think we can keep this. This is a great hand. This is super duper solid. I love this. We've got Force for the Beanstalk. We've got Plow for their Frog. Prismatic Ending is definitely better in postboard because you can use Prismatic Ending to exile cards like Carpet of Flowers, but it's not as good in game one. So I think we're gonna hope to just straight up counter, and I'm gonna put the ending back. We don't have anything proactive to do, which we do need to be proactive here. Last time I was on Esper Stoneblade when I played against them, so maybe they'll think that I'm on Esper Stoneblade and play accordingly. This is fine. I'm going to untap and plow this, I think. Which does suck because it does open up for Frog, but I'm going to go ahead and fetch a Surveillant. Main reason I don't plow now is I just want to minimize the risk of them having... That's an above average card that we can cast after we plow. Yeah, I think I'll keep it. This is going to be like a long, slower game. Okay, so I am going to go get a Tundra here, and I'm going to plow. And the reason I'm plowing now is I just don't want to deal with them having Brainstorm to flip in response. And we already put one of our Prismatic Endings away. It's been shuffled, so it's no longer on the bottom of our deck, but okay. And now I think we just go ahead and ponder. I do expect them to be playing some number of dazes, but they may not be. So these are great cards, most definitely. I think what we want is we're going to draw the Wasteland now. We want to draw the Delta last. The reason we're going to draw Bowmasters next turn is because we don't want to Thoughtseize it out of our hand. This tells me that they may be light on land. The fact that they're playing that into a daze. Okay. I do think we just waste here and we chill. And then if they attempt to do something like another cantrip to fix their mana, they could. Okay, so I think we are going to upkeep this. So we don't tap out. This makes it harder for them to go fetch a Surveillant. We have to figure out which color is more valuable to them. I suspect white is the more valuable. So I'll wait till this happens and then I'll just waste them. White is the removal color. Because white has better removal. So if you're going to play white, like you should always play. Okay, so they could definitely have Bowmasters of their own here. They're passing. I think we need to be proactive. We're going to cast the first Bowmaster, and it's totally possible that they daze it. But if they daze it, they're setting themselves back quite a bit. If they Bowmaster our Bowmaster, I'll force it. If they Brainstorm here, okay, they are dazing. I think we just let that happen. We're in the instep. This is a really good card against them, but I'm not going to risk them blowing us out. Wait, are we risking blowing anything out? No, it's already resolved. I don't think it's correct to fight over that. We've got plenty of cantrips coming. We're going to find some good stuff. So let's go ahead and start by... I'm going to see if I can find a Frog. Another Wasteland is great. Tamio is great. I'm going to stick Tamio now. And next turn, I will waste them again when they replay their Surveillant. Prismatic Ending can chill. All right. So we do have the combo. Do we want to wait, knowing that we have the combo? I kind of think we do. I mean, they have planes up. They could very easily plow. Yeah, I think I'm just going to chill for a turn. That may be cowardly, but I do want to make sure our Tamio sticks. One of the few ways we can pull ahead. They have 7 cards to our 4. They're like really high up there in cards right now. They're because we had a mulligan and we were on the draw. They surveilled the daze. So we're about to take them off of daze. Which I'm just going to do now. Tamio comes down. So we have Brainstorm to protect. We don't have Force to protect the Brainstorm itself. We're drawing a fetch. Or wait, we're drawing a Prismatic Ending. Okay, this may very well be a daze. I'm willing to take the chance. This is a Force. We don't have counterplay. They are going to successfully plow our Tamio. We're sitting with an extremely reactive hand against a much larger combo control deck. In other words, we're completely screwed. But I'm going to keep playing. So I'm not going to play any more lands out. I don't think the way we win is by playing lands out. I think the way we win is by brainstorming bad, excess lands back to our deck to try to make up for the deficiency. Nauspa Bomb doesn't matter. They may just do it. They're fetching. Are they fetching Underground Sea? Okay, that's a target for. We can't do anything about this. We're going to lose our graveyard. It may matter. We may just rip like a Murktide. Murktide's not great against their deck anyway because they have plenty of exile-based removal. I'm not hopeful for this. Those Wastelands have been great. Of course, we drew it. Yeah, we're just going to chill. That would have been amazing. But we wouldn't have had the blue card to protect. There's a Tamio. I'll PE it. I'm going to wait till they flip it to PE it. Because I just think it's highly likely that they have Brainstorm. They have 2 cards in hand. I am going to go ahead and do this. This sucks, but if they just are left to like draw a whole bunch, that's really bad for us. If they just have the Brainstorm, they had it all and there's nothing we can do. Please, they said, please explain in your next video, how do you not flood with 20 lands? So that could imply that they're flooded, which, I'd welcome any sort of like edge we can get in this type of matchup. There's the frog. I don't have anything to deal with it. I'm just going to pitch force, counter it. Yep. Maybe we'll draw a force one of these days. I am definitely considering putting a second Surveillant in here. That's a bad draw, unfortunately. It'll be great if we can get it into play, but I'm not hopeful we'll get it into play. Yeah, if I had a second Surveillant, my goodness, like that would... I do actually think second Surveillant is warranted. There have been a lot of situations this league where I've just wanted to have a second Surveillant. Is this Merc? It's a Merc. Yep. And we are super duper dead if we don't find exactly Plow. Daze does not help us. I'm just going to pass for a turn and we're going to take 20. Or we're going to take 8. We'll drop to 9. Assuming they don't have yet another card that can exile stuff from their graveyard. All right, we're taking it. Thoughtseize is unfortunate. But, they're going to take our Kaito. Now they know about our Daze, so they won't play into that. Even if we do make a Murktide, is going to be too small. We're not necessarily dead. I'm going to concede, though. So this is just like the bigger combo deck. I assume that they're on Beanstalk. They may just be straight up on what we're on. I'm not other people are playing Esper Control, which again is bigger than Esper Tempo. We have a better matchup against combo. They have a better matchup against control. Which would you rather have when combo's 50% of the meta and control is 10% of the meta? Well, sometimes your opponent is going to just queue into the right match and win. Okay, so did they waste us at all? I don't think they did. So Prismatic Ending is good against both Frog and Tamio. Bowmasters is really strong against their deck. I think we just cut the forces completely. I don't think they're particularly good here. Thoughtseize may be good. Daze, we're on the play, so I do think Daze is okay. If they're not pressuring our land at all, then we could cut an island. They are playing some basic... Oh, wait. We actually have a card that we can put in. So I think we probably bring one of the forces back in. And then on the draw, we'll take out a few Dazes and we'll bring in a few forces maybe. Maybe we won't. Okay, so I do think based on my opponent's discussion of land that there's quite likely that they're not actually playing Wasteland. Just by the volume of basics in their deck. They could be playing back to basics. My opponent is recommending putting Lorien Revealed into the deck, which is a card I've certainly considered. However, I don't believe games will generally get that far. So we're on the play again. This is a great hand. This has everything we want. I think we open Tamio, they plow it, then we Psychic Frog them, and we just keep slamming threats. This is going to be the opposite of last game. We're going to be doing threat to threat. assuming they don't have Wasteland. If they do have Wasteland, then that is problematic. So I actually actively want them to force/plow my threats here, since I have so many. All right. There's a basic plains. So the fear is real. Here's the plow. That's fine. That's actually very good for us. Now they could be playing back to basics. I doubt they are, but if they are, that's going to be a huge deal. And by deal, I mean ordeal. They did have days last game, which makes me think that they do have forces, but sometimes people play, okay, that's a 2-for-1. So we hymn them essentially. So we're back to kind of parity because they were up a card. All right. And now we're going to be able to play Frog around days when their days is online, and we have a days for if they have a prismatic ending. I don't think we Kaito to get Frog back into our hand. I don't think that's correct. They went for... This is an easy days. In my mind, I'm going to protect our black source. Okay. Now we don't have a way to protect Frog. If they have prismatic ending. They have all 3 colors. Teferi would be a beating here. We are drawing to 4 of our own Bowmasters, which are really good against them. Okay, this is another Bowmasters. This is the ending that we can't protect against, unfortunately. All right, so the best card would be some sort of threat that we can... Well, I do want to... Yeah, I don't think we stand still here. This is a window for us to do this without having to worry about Bowmasters. Thoughtseize, Wasteland. Wasteland's terrible here. We don't have a way to shuffle. I think we actually tucked the Merc. Then we Thoughtseize. Because Merc, assuming they don't have Nile Spellbomb, which may not even be in their deck, that does give us the ability to, yeah. I'm going to, because I don't want them to Thoughtseize Merc out of our hand, I want to cast it next turn. I'm just going to take a removal spell. Or I'll take a Bowmasters because I have the Frog answered cleanly. Yeah. All right. So assuming they didn't draw a plow here, we're in a good position. I do think it's not the end of the world if they daze my plow, but it is really bad if they're able to stop. Oh, please don't have a daze. Okay, good. They didn't have it. They said greedy. Yeah, it was greedy. Yeah, I don't want them to stop my Murktide. Actually, maybe that was completely unnecessary because I have plenty of cards here. Now that I don't think that they have a card, I'm just gonna. I don't think that they have a daze here, so I'm just gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll leave a plow in my graveyard. Okay. And I can leave 2 cards back. Like the power is not important. I want to be able to have like lots of options. All right. So they have 4 mana. I'm not sure what they're fetching here. Frog. Their own Murktide. Okay. So this is a bigger Murktide. So this does make me look like kind of a fool. But I can Sunlock it. I'm just going to cast it. They're Hellbent. So next turn, I'll be able to use the draw ability. Yep, we won. Yeah, we won by being greedy. There was absolutely no reason for me to plow in step. That was incorrect. All right. So I think they've got plenty of cards here. We could take out the dazes and bring in the forces. They do have a lot of like just really powerful cards, but at the same time, the fact that they were getting basics does concern me a little bit, but it makes me think that they're not playing Wasteland. So if they're not playing Wasteland, could they be playing back to basics? I think Daze is going to be better than Force, but we don't actually have to take out everything. We still have not seen a single waste. So a lot of decks, like they'll play like maybe just one of Daze. I think Force is just really bad, frankly. Like you're 2-for-1ing yourself. Every card matters. I don't want to do that. All right. So even though we've been getting our butts kicked this league, against, I think we lost to 2 combo decks. I I am considering publishing this league just because I love control matchups, and we've gotten to play 2 control matchups. I mean, yeah, I think this is good. My opponent is asking me whether I think Kaito is good enough. I think Kaito is good enough as a 1-of. I don't think you should put more than 1 in your deck. Here comes the... Oh, Tamio? Yeah, I'm just going to... I can't end this. Okay, well, that sucks. Maybe if I draw a fetch or white source. Okay, so my hand is not nearly as good as theirs, unfortunately. I can waste. That feels really bad. If I waste, they may just not have lands. So cheese. That's like, frankly, like probably the best thing I can do right now is just cheese them. They're going to stack up clues, which will be relevant. But if we get Bowmasters out and it's unanswered, like generally you don't want to waste somebody who's already on board. They're on board with Tamio. My opponent says, but you don't have ninjitsu stuff, do you? And the answer is no, which I'll answer after the game. I don't want to influence the outcome of this game through chit-chat. Okay, so they did have a Tundra. Can we get a Tundra? We can get a Ponder, which I think is good enough. I'm going to Ponder to try to... I mean, I could Brainstorm. That'll be a next turn thing. I'm going to Ponder. Right now, while I can dodge Bowmasters. Okay, so second Bowmasters, fantastic. Prismatic Ending, number 2 is good too. I don't know that we need it. I'm going to go like this. I definitely want the second Bowmasters. And I'll pass. Basically, the only way that I'm still in this game is if my opponent flips Tamio and starts going upstairs and I'm able to successfully end it. That would be good. Because I don't want it to continue to create clues. Those are going to be really problematic. Okay, they have a Wasteland. This is not a big deal. Okay, here's the Brainstorm. This is precisely what I hoped would happen. So now I can end, and I have Daze Protection. They're going to have to force to stop the Daze, or I guess a Daze of their own. But they would need 2 points of interaction here. I do have another Prismatic Ending coming. However, I have 4 in my deck, so I'm just going to go ahead and swing for the fences here. If they get to Tamio Ultimate levels of action. But basically, like, in my opinion, this matchup is... My opponent said they don't think my Wasteland was good. Which I'll happily concur that it's certainly not good, like, based on what transpired. Do they have the force? If they force, I will be okay with that. All right, so we did get a him effect. They are, however, going to be able to regrow. And we have literally nothing on board. So our game plan is next turn, Undercity Sewer. Hope that doesn't get wasted. And then get a Bowmaster out so they can't ultimate. They may have Plow in hand. All right, they're plussing. And Tamio Armageddon is very near. It's at hand. I'm going to Surveil here. Prismatic Ending is what we're looking for. A Daze is not any good anymore. Daze can't help us force through a Bowmasters, though. I think the odds of us finding a Prismatic Ending, we have 3 and 47, are low. I think this Daze may actually be worth keeping around. But if they waste here, the game's over. And it's worth noting that, like, they could potentially Plow and then... all right, there's the Wasteland. That's the game. We know that we're drawing dead. We know that we're not going to have the mana to do anything here. That was kind of a sad outcome. Getting beaten by the... I think it's a larger control deck, but they did have the Wastelands. They may be on the same list or a similar list to what we're playing, but they are playing more basics than we play. And I think that that's a trap. I don't think you're supposed to play a lot of basics when you're playing Murktide, when you're playing Daze, but sometimes you're going to lose anyway. And the important thing is to not get result-oriented thinking and walk away thinking like, oh, we need to add basics to our mana base. No, like you just have to fight through the Wastelands. Sometimes your opponent's going to have 2 Wastelands, right? Sometimes you're going to have to Daze something important. And it is questionable as to whether we should have even Dazed there, but I think we should have, because there was going to be a fight, whether it was over that Prismatic Ending or 2 turns later over the Bowmaster, there was going to be a fight. And in my opinion, you just have to keep playing through their wastelands and hope that you get there. So let's take a look at the list again. I think this is solid. It's not always just going to be like incredible. Like I'm not that sad to have lost in the mirror, like the slightly bigger mirror, but I am sad to have lost so badly to Riddlesmith. So, and I feel like that Vidrasil matchup, like, I don't think there was anything I could do, but again, here's what I encourage you to do. If you want to help me and you want to help other people who are watching these videos, please leave comments with timestamps about plays that you think were not sufficiently tight. If you disagree with my wasteland and you disagree with my reasoning, like, oh yeah, but it's bad to wasteland there because they're already on board. Like, yes, that is a heuristic, but often those kinds of heuristics will lead you astray. Like, I don't think we were winning a game where they're on the play. They have Tamiyo turn 1. We don't have an immediate way to deal with Tamiyo, but we have wasteland and they have a non-basic out. I think that it's reasonable to hope that we can disrupt their mana enough that they aren't able to crack clues, that they aren't able to reap the advantage of Tamiyo. They never had the mana to crack their clues. They didn't crack a single clue the entire game, and I think that's because of that wasteland. Otherwise, they could have just hung back and one-sided Howling Mine and taken their time. Instead, they flipped Tamiyo, and they had to, force and daze to protect her. And, if they hadn't had the second waste, we would have had daze, we would have had Bowmaster. So I genuinely think that we were doing okay. Now, to address my opponent's question, Kaito, Bane of Nightmares. I do think that this is playable off ninjitsu. You can do it off of a Bowmasters, you can do it off of a Tamiyo. You probably don't want to do it ever off of Psychic Frog. You probably don't ever want to do it off of Murktide. I do think it's a good control card. Is it as good as a lot of the other things we could be doing? I'm not sure. We did get to 4 mana, we did cast it, and it did win us that game. Like, it absolutely won us the game by stunning the Murktide and giving us, we would have attacked for 8 the following turn, and then we would have been able to attack again because it doesn't come in, like the Murktide would have remained tapped, right? So we would have pulled enough ahead that we would have been able to win that game. So they conceded because of Kaito. This could be Prismatic in number 3, which I think would be totally warranted given the state of the meta. Like, I definitely don't think that it's wrong to play 3 Prismatic Ending. It does nicely balance out the deck a little bit because we are playing we're playing 3 Thoughtseize. We did see kind of the downside of Undercities coming into tapped during, I think, that last game. Like, I wasn't able to ponder or anything. I just had to play it, and all I did was surveil instead of being able to cast a ponder or a brainstorm or something like that. However, there were also mid-game games where I wanted to have a second surveil land. So my thinking currently is we could potentially take out one of these Tundras and we could put in a Meticulous Archive. That also gives us a card that we can side out when instead of siding out the Black Source. Like, a lot of matchups, we don't really even care about white that much. Like the combo, like stack-based combo type matchups. And if we put this in, we take out a Tundra, reduces the price of our deck by $500 for those of you who are still out there shopping for dual lands. And it gives us the ability to just have a little bit more late game control over what we draw. I do like playing 20 lands. I don't think going down to 19 is safe with all the wastelands out there. With sowing Mycospawn in the format, you just need to be able to fix your colors. So that is my current thinking on this list. In terms of the sideboard, in terms of Kaito, I really want to like him. I completely acknowledge that maybe Prismatic Ending is better in this slot, though. If we cut Kaito, then we are threat light. We're lighter on threats. I'm not even sure what we would add to the sideboard because we already have a lot of interaction for the 3 big combo decks in the format: Cardforge, Nadu, and Blue-Black Reanimator. So I feel like this is probably enough combined with exile-based removal. Prismatic Ending is a really good card, though. And it's probably never been better. It would have been great to have an additional one in game 1 versus the Riddlesmith deck, for example. And the decks where this is completely dead Really, Jeskai Control is a deck where this is completely dead. Traditional blue-black Reanimator, but now if they're playing the Vidrasil card, then Prismatic Ending is pretty good against that. And they were also playing a lot of like smaller creatures that we could hit too. So I would say like you're reducing your threat density if you take out Kaito, and Kaito is a fun card objectively. It's cool. He's a ninja. He comes in, he's got his little raccoon buddy, and he's like surveilling. He's potentially buffing himself. Of course, the ninjitsu doesn't help anybody else. I don't know. I'm not convinced that he's as good as Orcish Bowmaster's number 4, for example. And maybe Orcish Bowmaster, like if you look at the decks that are doing really well, like Orcish Bowmaster is good against pretty much every deck in the format. Well, let's take a look at the meta. Okay, so let's go over here, and we're just going to go to MTG Top 8. And I just do this. This is not the most scientific way to determine the meta, but these are the past 2 weeks. We can see Tempo is huge. And, this Prismatic Ending is good against Tempo. Eldrazi, now with, let's see how many are playing Chalice. So Chalice of the Void is in almost every one of them, right? There have been a couple, but like at Eternal Weekend, everybody's playing Chalice. Chalice is pretty strong. And being able to remove that is also pretty strong. The other card that I think is pretty strong here in this, I think Chalice is good. They don't really have a lot of targets other than Chalice. But if they are bringing Grisma, this is more of like, it's just so good against Karnforge. Like it is the best card you can draw against Karnforge. So I don't know that having that main deck would be problematic. We would be going lighter on threats. However, every sorcery instant we put in our deck does make Murktide a little bit stronger. U-White Control. Obviously, Bowmaster's number 4 is going to be strong there. Let's take a look at Dragon Stompy. I think if you look at this, it's good against all their threats. Their threats are 3 drops, right? Like we can potentially remove a Lelia. We can potentially remove a Magus. I've done that many times over the weekend. Over Eternal Weekend, I removed Maguses with Prismatic Ending, even, because you just need the plains and the island to do that. I'm not even sure what Screaming Nemesis is, but I like the name of the card. Haste. Whenever Screaming Nemesis is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any other target. If a player dealt damage this way, they can't gain life for the rest of the game. Wow. So that's pretty cool. It's kind of like a twist on True Name Nemesis. The fact that it has haste is pretty good. It's cool. Star Athlete. I've never heard of this. Whenever Star Athlete attacks, choose up to 1 target non-land permanent. Its controller may sacrifice it. If they don't, Star Athlete deals 5 damage to that player. Okay. Double red. I'm not convinced that this is a good card, but there was one player that thought it was good. Okay, so then Death of Taxes, obviously having like either Bowmasters or Prismatic Ending is going to be really impactful. The rest of these are like less than 1% of the meta. Blue-White Control. If we look at this, this is, I think, mostly Esper. Or there's some Esper in there, like Hammerfest is in there. I don't think I got qualified as this. Classified as this. They probably just put me on blue-black tempo. Everybody puts me... Oh, wait, here I am. Yeah. So they consider me to be blue-white X, right? Abhorrent Oculus. We can kind of look at this. Curie, if you're doing Stifle Knot things, which I'm going to have that on my channel. Let's see. Tamio, yeah. So obviously good against Flip Tamio, good against Nethergoyf, good against, I was like exiling Bowmaster. I was exiling lots of stuff. I think we can make an argument that Prismatic Ending is good enough to be a 3-of main deck. Let's take a look at Stifle Knot. Obviously very good against Stifle Knot. And then you start to get into cards that are not very playable. It's not good against Reanimator. If we look at the Reanimator list, let's just go and let's just do major events. So if you do major events, 50 plus players, we get like probably a little bit better cross section. These are mostly going to be MTGO events, and we can see that. We can hit Baragoyf with it. Douthie does come in sometimes, and we can hit it on curve. Yeah, really just Psychic Frog. And, Tomio is not played very widely. So really the only card in their entire deck that gets hit is Psychic Frog. However, if we are... So let's say we take this out, just because I did feel it. I definitely felt it in the games that we drew it, that it just... We didn't have enough... we didn't have enough ways to get ninjitsu triggered. I don't think playing 4 Bowmaster's main deck is correct, but I do think we could put a Prismatic Ending in, and then we could... What will we put in here? The other option, of course, is like a Spell Pierce. We are a tempo deck. We can capitalize on... but that does require you leaving mana up. It's dead against Eldrazi. It's not great against Moon Stompy and decks where you have to tap out to play your threats. There's a blue card that pitches the force. I don't know. I'm going to think about this. I'm not going to do it on stream, but I feel like the deck list is really tight in that final slot could be any number of things. It used to be a Brazen Borrower. Maybe it should be a Brazen Borrower. Brazen Borrower would have been pretty good against Carnforge, for example. If we just go back to Brazen Borrower, that's like basically the exact configuration I played at Eternal Weekend. And I feel like that would be fine. Brazen Borrower answers a lot of things. Brazen Borrower would have been insane in the however it's pronounced, the artifact. So my thinking is we just put Brazen Borrower back in. The reason Brazen Borrower is so good, and people are always like, whoa, you've already got Prismatic Ending. Like, it is both threat and interaction. So that is where I'll leave it. I am probably just going to play a list with this more vanilla, but I am going to put in the Meticulous Archive. Even though we're tempo, I do like the idea of having a second Surveil land if we need to go in control mode. These have just really overperformed for me. I like the idea of being able to dump late game lands. I like the idea of being able to dump late game Thought Seizes and stuff like that, and then create food for Murktide. I think it's strong. So until next time, be excellent to each other and party on.